Are you listening? Damn.
All right, welcome to the AFC Championship Game Recap Edition, our first ever AFC Championship Game Recap Edition of AFC North Talk. We are going to be recapping that big win by the Cincinnati Bengals over the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me introduce everybody here first. I'm Tony Serino. I represent the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quincy Carrier from the Cleveland Browns. Quincy, how are you?
You know, I'm not feeling like Ace, so I guess.
We also, Sonny couldn't be with us today. He is not feeling well. Wish him the best. He will be with us.
Bengals going to the Super Bowl literally made that man sick.
That'll do it, yeah. And then, Ace, I would ask you how you're doing, but I think we all know how you're doing. But how are you doing today?
It's been insane, man. It's honestly surreal the way that it happened. I did feel like the Bengals had a chance in this game, but just the way that they were able to go down in that game and come back, I mean, it's surreal, bro. Honestly, like, I don't know if I can actually put a feeling on it. Like, first of all, I didn't want to go to sleep at all. Second of all, it was just, I don't know. It just finally felt like everything that we've been fighting for, the respect that we've been fighting for, and just the battles that we've fought, it's still not over. It almost feels like, and I think, Tony, you touched on this. You were more excited when you found out for the first time that you were going to make the Super Bowl, instead of actually playing. I kind of have that because it's just like, there's still another game. It's like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Like, right. That feeling that you get from seeing your team go there's like no feeling like it in the world. And just seeing the players and just knowing the team and just covering this team for so long and just sticking through and with them for so long after so many frustrating things. It's just cloud nine, bro, honestly.
Yeah.
You sat through 8. I saw somebody tweet, I think it was Kofi from Secret Base. He was like, bro, I sat through 8 years of Andy Dalton. I am celebrating every moment of this right now.
Yes, that was a long time. That was a very long
8
time.
years and in like 6 playoff games too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is something for this Bengals team. They had like the longest playoff drought, right? It was 30-something years between their last playoff win. And it's not just like, this team didn't just come in and like win a playoff game and, and then like a stepping stone thing. They went 0 to 100. The classic 0 to 100, which is, you haven't won in forever. And boop, by the way, we're in the Super Bowl now. And we did it in one of the most unimaginable way possible. Like you said, going through Patrick Mahomes twice. Once to win the division, right? They clinched the division on that day. And then yesterday they did it to clinch the AFC Championship game. All right, I want to let everybody know you can get your voice heard here on the show by leaving us a super chat. We guarantee we will read every super chat we get today, just like this one from our friend Novastone, who is back. If you don't know who Novastone is, longtime listeners of the show will know Novastone is our resident Tom Brady fan. And he says here, never compare Mahomes to Tom Brady ever again. #phony GOAT.
At least Mahomes made it to the championship game of his conference,
True.
And then didn't retire hastily and then recanted.
that whole like, is Tom Brady retired or not?
So
that was insane. The one thing that isn't fair though is I feel like he is going to retire, but it should have been like him giving a press conference, him delivering it. I don't think it was fair for someone to like leak that. If it does end up being true, it's not fair for that to just be like a Bleacher Report breaking news kind of thing. Like, Tom Brady has done so much for this league that he deserves to kind of retire on like his own terms. Like, he needs to have his press conference and stuff like that. It doesn't need to be a Twitter update. Like, no.
I feel you, but I put nothing past Tom Brady. I feel like he put that out there on purpose. Was like, let him know I'm about to retire. Because who goes with that like without a first person like confirmation? And then when it came out, he's like, "Oh, see, now I got to prove them wrong. They think I'm done." Like that's something that Jordan would do. That's something LeBron would do, and it's definitely something that like Tom Brady would do, just to be petty.
Yeah,
I do agree though. I can't see Tom Brady's like leaving his career like how it ended. Like I mean, I know that he probably should have left last year if he wanted to retire on top, but I can't see him like coming into, losing that game and that just being it. Like
when I saw that blurb come across my screen, I'm like, there's no way that Ben Roethlisberger is going to be the only quarterback of that era that gets an actual retirement tour, right? Because if he goes out, that's it, right? Like nobody else got with Drew Brees, maybe. But that's because we've been begging Drew Brees to retire for like 2-3 years before he actually did. But Ben's the only one that got the whole like full retirement deal. I'm like, no way. Brady's not gonna like at least let us know, this.
Well, it's a little less special for him though, because like his retirement. I mean, you have to go. He can get himself back in New England somehow. Then, I mean, you know what I mean? Like he's on a second team now, so it's not. It's
the whole Ben, league's like gonna celebrate Brady. It's gonna be like when the whole league was giving Derek Jeter gifts every time that he showed up. You know what I mean? Like,
we're just tired of him though. I mean, like, and I'll say this as a Steeler fan,
gave Derek Jeter a rocking chair one time. Why? For whipping our ass for 25 years?
As a Steeler fan, I'll say this: like, on the same weekend, we get Steeler fans get the reprieve of like, okay, you're never gonna have to face Tom Brady. You never have to watch another Tom Brady game again, which rolls right into, oh, but by the way, the Bengals got a quarterback good enough to beat Mahomes twice, including in Arrowhead. So
the AFC has 5
just
quarterbacks.
Rolls right in, just roll right into the next one.
The AFC has 5 quarterbacks that are insane. Like, oh yeah, you thought Patrick Mahomes is as good as it gets? Joe Burrow beat him twice.
Yeah,
there are some insane quarterbacks in this conference. Not even just division. The conference is just insane.
Yep.
What if Russ and Aaron Rodgers gets traded to this? Like, there's going to be more great quarterbacks than there are spots in the playoffs.
Yeah, that is the one thing when you got to look at where those spots are. All right, Trey here with a $5 super chat said, "Am I the only one who thinks Tony Romo makes the NFL gimmicky with his commentary? How do you guys feel about it?"
This point to where
I couldn't stand Romo's like commentary yesterday. It was like clearly he wanted the Chiefs to win, and then he was just like, "Oh, they got the coin toss. They're gonna." I'm like, "Come on, man!" It was. I respect Tony Romo. I think obviously he was a good quarterback, and I think a lot of people like that he can kind of break down and tell you what's coming before the play actually happens, right? But the one weird part about yesterday was like when we made the decision to try to play defense and not let them score and stuff like that. He was just like, "What are they doing? This is just idiotic. There's no reason for them to. What are you doing?" And then like everything plays out how it does, and it's like then Tony Romo kind of looked kind of dumb, which I've never honestly most of the time that I watch Tony Romo, he actually looks very insightful, but it just seemed like yesterday he was just kind of off.
I saw a lot of Bengals fans on Twitter getting upset at Romo and Nance and how kind of pro Mahomes they were and pro Chiefs. It's something of course, I back in the day hated Phil Simms and Jim Nance for very similar reasons with Tom Brady. So I think it's so easy for those commentators. They get excited about the great player on the field and they forget like, hey, by the way, you are calling a game. You need to like, yes, you can be excited about that stuff, but like, there's 2 teams out there. Let's not just go, oh my God, look how great the Chiefs are. Which certainly was a large part of yesterday's commentary.
And the reason this happens a lot with national commentary is like how many games have they had the Chiefs? You know what I mean? They've had the Chiefs for like 6 games. They do a lot of prep with the Chiefs because they know they're going to have the Chiefs for a bunch of games. Right. They didn't expect to have the Bengals 1 game this year. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like part of that happens there because it always happens. Like I know people felt the same way with the Browns when they played them. The national guys for any broadcast are going to always go with the establishment, right? Because that's what they know is going to make them. Well, I'm not saying they're in the booth like, oh yeah, because they don't get bonuses for who makes the Super Bowl or anything, but that's what they know, right? And you're probably going to lean towards more what you know than what you don't know in these kind of situations. So like everybody hates the national TV. Like there's never been like a universally loved national TV analyst, right? Because Tony Romo, everybody hates him
Romo's
now.
the closest we got. Yeah, Romo's
the closest. I think Romo
Collinsworth has actually done the turn, right? Where like people liked him, hated him for a real long time, and now people are like, you know what, man? Chris Collinsworth, he's so bad, he's good now. It's
a meme. He's becoming a meme with the slide in, and here's a guy and all that. Yeah,
because he's just, man. We're just watching football, you know. And, you know, Joe Buck's Joe Buck. Nobody really respects Joe Buck or well, they think Troy Aikman's all right. But
I think the only time that I've ever been like, it wasn't even like offensive or anything when he was doing it. I think that the only time that I've ever felt like a type of way when it's like that is when it's like a home game. Like I'm expecting that on like the road, right? Like if you're playing in Arrowhead, it's Pat Mahomes. I expect you to pump up the team. There was a weird game this season where the Bengals were playing, and it may have been I don't know if it was the 49ers game or what, but it was like we were playing on the road the way that they were like legit not talking about the Bengals whatsoever. And it was like I could understand if we were a bad team, but it was like we were a good team and they weren't talking about us whatsoever. So that's the only situation where it's kind of weird where when you tune into a broadcast or something like that. No, I don't think it was Cleveland game. But it was like they were talking about, I feel like it was like the 49ers.
The Niners makes sense because that would have been on Fox, and the Fox team covers 49ers more than
they were just everything was about the 49ers. I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's definitely like you'll get that too whenever you play, and you can tell the NFC guys are like, I'm not doing no research on the Browns. Like, they're 1-12 or whatever it was, but they just kind of looked at the Bengals and was like, that's the thing. Since the Browns and the Bengals are so similar in origin, people think that the Bengals are just the Browns, but like, they're clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, with the media narrative, I mean, it's always been a lot of people look at the Browns. I mean, not the Browns, but the Bengals as like the Jets or like something like that. Like they don't, because obviously we didn't win a playoff game, but we had so many berths. So it was kind of disrespectful to be like, all right, hey, you're like the Dolphins. And for me, it's always been different because, you know, Tony, with us living in Florida, we're down here with like the Bucks before they were good. We're down here with the Dolphins when they were like a dumpster fire, the Jaguars and all of that. And it's like, you're not going to group me with those teams. Like we actually have gone to like the playoffs and stuff like that. Like, no, we haven't won, but I just feel like sometimes when you're a team that hasn't been in the spotlight or hasn't done anything, then they kind of tend to overlook you and you have to kind of earn and pay your dues, I guess, quote unquote, until you can kind of get into that moment in that limelight.
Yeah.
By the way, I got a question I thought of yesterday. If the Browns never come back in 99, are a bunch of us just Bengal fans at that point? Do the Bengals still say they're the Cincinnati ones, or do they go and say, hey, we're the Ohio Bengals and take the whole state? What happens if the Browns like never announce plans immediately after they move to come back?
Probably a split between Bengals fans and I feel like Steelers fans. I feel like there's no way you guys can go and cheer for the Ravens.
They can't cheer for the Ravens, literally.
No, because it's too far too. But I feel like geographically, it would become this weird world where like Cleveland cheers for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It definitely would be split for sure.
It would. But that's weird because they were, I mean, again, at the time, right? Steelers-Browns was a massive rivalry back then. So
but
or you might get those people that use the
Browns to keep their team.
I'm cheering for the Cowboys or the Lakers because there's not a team in my state kind of thing. You might
you get a lot of transients in that way. Yeah.
Mike Brown just be like, oh, there's more money if I could just take the whole state. Like, I don't know, be an opportunity. That's a what if thing. I want to do a documentary one day.
Nova Stone here with a $2 super chat says, even if Tom Brady retires, he will overshadow Ben into the Hall of Fame. I've seen a lot of Steeler fans on Twitter. This is one of those times when me and Steeler fans, we diverge because I saw a lot of Steeler fans upset about this over the weekend when it was Brady's going to retire. And oh no, Tom Brady's going to overshadow Ben into the Hall of Fame. Like, what are we talking about?
He's going to overshadow everyone. He's going to overshadow everyone.
Yes, Tom Brady, when he goes in, will be the talk of going in. But like, you know, Ben's still going to get he's still going to get his ceremony, right? He's still going to get his speech or whatnot. Or he's going to get overshadowed on his way into the whole thing. Like, Ben
wasn't going to be the headliner of his class anyway.
He's going to go in the same year. No, Drew Brees will be the year before. There's someone else that's big the year he's going with besides Brady.
Who's all retired now?
I can't think of the names right off the top of my head. All right, Diddy here, $2 super chat says, Q, Brown should keep Baker. You don't want Jimmy G.
That is a fact.
I mean, Jimmy G ain't who I want. You know what I mean? I've been telling y'all Jimmy G is Jimmy G for a while here. But no, not it. Obviously, no, I'm not about to go for James Garoppolo. That's not the answer there. He He's terrible. You could tell, by the way, at the end of that game, he was about to go full Jimmy G. Because if you watch,
I don't think he was that bad. I got hot take. I don't think Jimmy G was that bad yesterday.
No. But here's the thing with Jimmy G. He wasn't that bad in that game until the last drive. Well, he was bad in that game. Like I disagree with the take.
No. He wasn't that bad. They couldn't run the ball.
He missed like 3 passes. He missed like 2. I was watching. I was like, yeah, this is late season Baker Mayfield game right here.
No, he did it decent enough out of structure. They couldn't run the ball whatsoever, so it's all on Jimmy G, which again is not what their offense is built to do. And people are going to get on him on that last throw. Okay, but here's the thing: Aaron Donald takes the guard and puts him right in Jimmy G's lap. Jimmy G tries to get out. He makes a dumb throw, but what do you want to do? Take the sack and make it 4th and 25? Like he tries to get it to a running back. It gets tipped and intercepted. I think. Look, I know it's not an easy day to be on the Jimmy G hype train. But I didn't come away from that game like, oh man, Jimmy G, what a disaster. I came away like, Jimmy G, you had to put it all on Jimmy G's shoulders and he couldn't do it. But we already know that about Jimmy G.
Yeah, I came away thinking that Jimmy G was a disaster because I was looking at his feet the whole last drive. I was like, you know what? Let me see. Because his feet normally pretty calm. It's one of the things about Jimmy G. If you notice in that last drive, his feet get so happy. Like he is chopping extra in the pocket. He is nervous as hell. And then like he just like double backs and then throws this thing into the dirt. It was a terrible last drive. I don't care what Tony says. That was a terrible last drive. I have only, that's the last drive that I saw Baker have that made me go, you know what? This kid has a ceiling. Like this kid has a ceiling he's not going to reach.
I'm not saying Jimmy G is like the superstar.
No. That's one of them drives that make you lose faith in your quarterback. Man, like when Andy Dalton had that drive, when Ace was watching the Bengals, that's what he was like. Yeah, we can do better. No, we can do better. That's one of them sobering drives where you're just like, this can't be it, dog.
To be honest with you, like it's funny because with the whole Andy Dalton thing, I've always gone back and forth on him. But even his rookie year, I was just not really sold on him. Like he would throw balls up and stuff like that. And AJ Green would just make amazing catches. And like you even talk about like to bring the Browns into it, that Thursday night football game, dog. Like, and that was when you guys were bad. And you saw how bad he was in that game. He couldn't complete like any passes. I was just like, dog, I am so done with this dude.
He made AJ Green have no stats.
Yes, I'm glad that finally, now that we're in the Super Bowl, like so many people, and you're probably going through this too, Quincy, because when you just give analysis, some people take it as it's just personal hate. You hate the guy, like you're just mean to him. And it's like, no, I'm a Bengals fan. You're a Browns fan. We just want what's best for our team. Mm-hmm. We're not like, I'm not here to cheer for Andy Dalton. I'm here for what is the best move for my team. And if it means that Carson Palmer or Andy Dalton or anybody has to go, even if it's eventually one day Joe Burrow, I don't think it would be, but if that day arrives, then you have to get
rid of AJ Green to get to where y'all were
exactly. At. Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins, like those were guys that we had to like just disconnect from. Honestly, like nothing against those guys, but it was just
so time for a new fresh real chance. I remember talking about last year where it's like he doesn't really have a real chance to build his locker room culture up because so many dudes from a guy who's been here for 20 years just there still.
Has there been any talk of that, Ace, of like the idea that, I mean, those were all good players. Like, those were great players for the Bengals. About AJ Green, Geno Atkins, right? I mean, these guys were all there. And then, this is an offseason where they got rid of all those guys. And then, bam, they go to the Super Bowl. It does. I don't know. Has anybody talk about that in Cincinnati about how those guys were kind of a year off from being a part of this?
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of people were kind of like sad that they didn't get to kind of at least like be on the team, like even if they weren't going to be effective, because especially you got to feel for AJ Green, because I mean him putting up with like the stuff that he had to in Cincinnati with Andy Dalton, with them not ever kind of getting a better quarterback or a better situation. He never went out in the media and was just like bashing the Bengals or anything like that. Like he was a classy person. And so you kind of felt bad because it's like, he's only leaving because he wants a chance to try to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately goes to the Cardinals, doesn't get that playoff win, and then has to watch us play in the Super Bowl. So we definitely felt for him. A couple of weeks ago, there was a rumor that, especially when you saw the Eric Weddle stuff happen, like a lot of people were like, all right, is Geno Atkins going to come back? Because if you realize there's never really been a thank you Geno post from the Bengals media. They gave one for AJ Green when he was obviously going to be going off to other pastures. They never did that for Geno Atkins. So it kind of always left in the back of your head, okay, well, maybe there's some kind of way that they can bring him back. That kind of died during the season, right? And then when Larry Ogunjobi gets hurt, there's like this whole, they signed Eric Weddle, and AJ Green texts Geno Atkins, and Jesse Bates texts Geno Atkins to see if he'd be interested in playing 3-tech for like a couple of weeks or something like that, because Geno actually had he was playing with like one arm essentially last year. A lot of people didn't know if he was going to retire just for injury purposes, whether he wanted to stay with his family. And so there were rumors that people thought that he was going to jump on the team just for this last 2 weeks. But that didn't happen. But there's definitely people that feel for them. Like and unfortunately with Carlos Dunlap, his father passed away in a car accident a few days ago. That was tough news. But yeah, there's definitely Bengals fans that think about those guys and wonder, like, if they would have just been here at least for 1 year, they would have been rewarded for staying here this decade and going through all of those trials and tribulations.
Yeah. All right, let's get to more super chats here. Yolanda with a $5 super chat said, "Congrats, Ace and Bengals fans. This victory is so well deserved. As a Ravens fan, your team scares me."
I appreciate that, Yolanda. It's definitely well deserved. It is a very scary team. Just with the team that they put together, I'm anxious to see what we do in the offseason. And I think like the Joe Burrow effect is real. Like, it started probably 2 seasons ago where we started to sign. I kind of figured that was why they were coming to the Bengals when you talk about DJ Reader and stuff like that. Because if you've been following the Bengals, like, we never get a young guy. Like, we've signed over the hill guys that may have been big names back in the day, but generally they're like 29, 30, maybe in their 30s, like T.O. when he was 35 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've never really signed guys that are like in their prime at 25. And DJ Reader, and I remember I was like actually at a boiling point because I was so upset because the Bengals had said that they were going to be head first into free agency. Nothing had happened. A lot of people who watch my channel probably remember that. And I think I actually called Duke Tobin Fluke Tobin or something like that. It was a very angry video. And like literally, I think the next day they signed DJ Reader. And that was like the first time that the Bengals had ever spent a bunch of money on a kid that was like 25 years old as a free agent. So the Joe Burrow effect is real. And I'm ready to see like who's going to come this offseason after this season is over.
Yeah.
They have 3 years left of that rookie deal.
Yeah.
And we got a ton of cap space. That's the crazy part about it as well. So we definitely got to try to get that.
Bengals being cheap, but like, hey, this time, now you got money when it's time to spend. You've been saving up the whole time. So it's like,
yeah. Yeah. And it's a team with so many, I mean, look, they have obvious flaws in that team, right? The offensive line, obvious flaw, and you got to figure they have some cap space. They're going to address that again. It's not like this is a team without cap space or without draft capital. They have both of those things. They have obvious flaws that they can get better in, right? But even with all those flaws, and we'll talk about it when we talk about the game, all those flaws out there, doesn't matter. They're out there beating the best team in football second best team in football now.
Great equalizer. If your quarterback plays better, you're going to win. And Joe Burrow played better than Patrick Mahomes 2 times this year.
Yeah.
Head to head.
1 blue $2 super chat says Brady lost an 18-point lead in an AFC championship game. 2 #same. That was the one against Manning, right?
I think so. That was like the one that they kept mentioning during the show where I guess Joe Burrow like tied it or retied it. And I think was it Manning that came back?
Manning came back, points? I believe, because I remember we were having like a family gathering and we all hated Tom Brady so much. We wanted Manning to win that game. And when they were down at halftime, like the party literally disbanded. We all went home. And so we had to watch the second half of that. I had to watch the second half of that game at home and watch Manning's comeback from home. Yeah, that was
I think I remember that one. That was the one where like Brady had been beating up on Manning in the playoffs for years, and that was the one where he finally came back and beat Brady in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I think I do remember that game. Yeah. I remember that game. Yeah.
All right, Blue Libra here, $5 super chat says defense went off in the second half. Burrow amazing at keeping plays alive, and it was great to see Smith and Carmen out there to strengthen the offensive line. Yeah, I forgot about that. We got to talk about that. Because that was a crazy thing that they just in the middle of the first quarter, guess what? We're putting the rookie back in. Jackson Carman, welcome to the AFC Championship game.
And it's crazy because I had to look at PFF because I was that was a topic of debate. Obviously, when you give up 9 sacks, right? Like a lot of people are like, are you going to put Jackson Carman back in? And that's been a debate within Bengals fandom for a while because I was kind of on the pro Jackson Carman kind of train, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, all right, if you get Jamar Chase, they feel like, because I had heard from behind the scenes, Like they wanted Jackson Carman to play right guard. And then after Riley Reif, who I think is like 32, if he's 33, their plan was to move him out to right tackle, but they wanted to put him at right guard initially. And so they called Willie Anderson. Willie like told me about it and everything. This is how I knew that they were going to take him. And as soon as I like started dropping hints that that's who they were going to take, Bengals fans hated it. They were just like, there's no way. Why are we taking Jackson Carman? We need to take like any other guy other than Jackson Carman. And like he's struggled, but he's also had games where he was solid too. Like, and you know, this is a team that had Michael Jordan starting last year, right? Like guards have been really bad. So with his play, I was like, unless we're upgrading somebody and this guy is a rookie, don't take him out. They eventually take him out. They switched Hakeem Adeniji there, right? And Hakeem Adeniji showed some promise. He was a young tackle prospect. He had been solid, but he'd never played guard before, and he actually had an injury before the season and was able to come back faster. And once he went out and struggled, and I was looking at, you know, you can't just go by FF numbers, obviously, right, Tony? Take that with a grain of salt.
I don't use that those filters at all, actually.
but the numbers were similar, and like a lot of people that like you get either anti Jackson Carman people or pro Jackson Carman people. You don't really get a mix. And for me, it was always about, all right, look, if the PFF grades aren't that much different, then let me put Carman in there because he's actually a better run blocker. And so it definitely was an interesting thing because a lot of people asked about it, like, are they going to do that in the AFC Championship? Like, are they going to be willing to change their line out? Because Jackson Carman hasn't started in like 6 weeks. So it's like with your offensive line, obviously you have to have chemistry. Why would you just do that right after that? And the interesting thing after looking at the splits, they actually like rotated both of them. So they had like Hakeem Adeniji in for 20 snaps, and then they had Jackson Carman in for 20 snaps. And I noticed it during the game because first I see Carman go out there, and I'm like, oh, my God, Jackson Carman's starting. And then I look later, and I'm like, hold on, Hakeem Adeniji's out there. Like, what's going on? And when I looked at the splits, it made sense because they actually total 40 snaps, but they split 20 each. So that was kind of unique that they did that.
Yeah. All right, Jeff here, $5 super chat said the one thing no one is talking about, the Rams had to beat the number 5, the number 2, and number 6 seeds, and the Bengals had to beat the number 5, the number 2, and the number 1 seed to get to the Super Bowl.
I mean, honestly, just as an outsider, like looking into the NFC, one of the things I didn't agree with that Sonny has said on the show is like, whoever from the AFC comes out is just rolling over the NFC. The NFC is pretty good. Like there's a lot of like when I kind of looked over there outside of like maybe the 49ers, you're talking about the Bucks, you're talking about the Rams, you're talking about like all of the teams that they kind of have over there. Green Bay, like it's not easy over there. Like usually I try to say like this person stands out more. Like they had the Cowboys over there. Like I couldn't really pick who was going to be the NFC team. I automatically defaulted to Brady just because. But then you had the Rams. Like there were so many teams over there that were well worth, I think, making it to a Super Bowl. So I don't feel like it's just an easy wash that, you know, whoever came out of the AFC or NFC, like if it's the 49ers, sure. But after you say 49ers, like you can't say that the Rams aren't really like a favorite. Like the Rams are a favorite against us in this game upcoming. Like you can't really say that Green Bay isn't a favorite. They were kind of favored at the beginning of the season. Yeah. And even the Cowboys, I mean, the Cowboys aren't bad. I mean, they choke and stuff like that, but that's not because their team is bad. So, you know, I could look at like the Titans or something like that. And if I put them with like the Cowboys, I'd probably put the Cowboys just on paper and just on talent. I might say the Cowboys might beat them. So the NFC is an animal over there.
I would say this though. I think in the NFC, like once we got to the NFC Championship game, the general thinking is Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow just better quarterbacks than whoever's going to come out the NFC. Like, you know, I've never been the biggest Matt Stafford guy. He could prove me wrong this month. You know, we'll see. But I would take Joe Burrow, whatever team Joe Burrow's quarterback and the way he's been playing the last, 10 weeks.
Yeah. Going back to that Niners game.
Yeah. Going back to the Niners game versus what I know from the last 10 years of watching Matt Stafford.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm with you.
That's pretty much why I think a lot of people feel like whoever wins the AFC, because it was either going to be Mahomes or Joe Burrow. And if Joe Burrow beats Mahomes, hypothetically, we're thinking like, then there's no way Matt Stafford's going to be the one that stops him. That would be
right. The only thing though is the Rams You got Sean McVay. You got that defense like Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, and you have Matt Stafford, who's a slight upgrade over. Well, he's not even slight. I'll give him an upgrade because I gave Matt
He's an
Stafford
upgrade.
He's
An
an
upgrade.
a lot of
upgrade
trash
over
this
Jared
year.
Goff.
I had to just eat the crow on that. I was the one saying I didn't think it was going to be easy for them to just go through the Bucks and all of that. Clearly, they have earned that. But then you also have Cooper Kupp. You got OBJ. They're really kind of this super team that they've been building up. That's what they did in the offseason. They traded and got all of these guys. And then they got the final Infinity Stone with OBJ here at the end of the season. They're a scary team, man. I mean, they're talented. They've got that stuff over there. I agree with you. I would give the advantage to Burrow as far as if we're talking quarterbacks, but that defense, as we've seen before, was good enough to get them to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and they've done nothing but kind of add to that with Jalen Ramsey and stuff like that. So I just never kind of just look past them as it would just be an automatic dub. But if Stafford does, if he does want to get generous and kind of turn that ball over, I'm with it. I'm with it all day.
Yeah, and that Bengals defense playing well right now.
Well, it's going to be interesting, right? Because that's the test case, right? If you want to make the argument that you can kind of avoid quarterback play a little bit in the NFL, somebody who is as good as Matt Stafford's probably the level of quarterback that you need to get to where it's hey, he's not elite, but he's pretty good and he can be pretty good for stretches of time, right? And if you feel like you could put enough in, by the way, he has all of it around him with the Rams right now. I mean, he has a dude catching the ball at the rate of Calvin Johnson in his prime. He has Odell as his number 2, who had a pretty good game. And then defensively, they have it all. They have it all, right? If that team cannot win a Super Bowl, because the thing I worry about with the Rams is unless they blow out the Bengals, and even then, unless it's a triple B kind of situation, then I don't really see how they win the game, because if it comes down to close, if it comes down to a clutch drive,
right?
My faith in Matt Stafford isn't that great.
I don't know. He did it twice, right? He did it yesterday. He had the drive yesterday.
Maybe I'm for some Matt Stafford.
And then he had it against. He did it against Brady.
He had it against Brady. I mean, to him.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like one of those things when you see Joe Burrow do it, you don't assume there's a cap to how many times the kid can do it. When I see Matt Stafford do it, I go, man, he can only do that 1 or 2 more times.
Look, I'm with you. I always feel like Stafford's gonna screw it up, but this is like a Matt. I mean, this playoff run for him is like a Matt Stafford redemption tour. This is exactly why they got him over Jared Goff.
It was almost wrecked though. The guy did drop the interception. That's the only thing.
The deep one, yeah.
The guy did drop the interception, but
and then Jalen Ramsey made up for it by dropping his own. So it was a weird sequence too.
Yeah,
I got to pay some bills real quick we got to pay some bills here before we keep going. We got to tell you guys about our friends over at Manscaped. There's nothing like the NFL playoffs. Move over, Bills Mafia. It's time for Balls Mafia with our sponsor of today's show, Manscaped. They're here to remind you that the recipe for success in the playoffs is to protect your franchise quarter balls. The road to the Super Bowl is never easy, but the road to your Super Balls is just a few clicks away. Take the Lambo leap and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com, use the code AFC North Talk. AFC North Talk, all one word. It's right there on the bottom of your screen for 20% off and free shipping. This year, take your package to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and their brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate nuts. It even comes equipped with a 4000K LED spotlight. This package will change the way you approach prepping your field before the big game. A grooming routine isn't complete without applying the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner before showing off your 2022 self. These unique formulations take care of the smelliest parts of your body and are a big boost to your confidence into the new year. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed Travel Bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs as free gifts to help keep all your goodies stored comfortably. And the new product that needs no introduction, the Ultra Premium Body Wash from Manscaped, solves all three for the perfect addition to your daily grooming routine, but in the shower. I shower every day. Hopefully you do too. The body wash smells great. It's cologne infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. Let's blitz poor hygiene all night and use the best tools for the job. Be sure to travel over to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off and free shipping. But again, you have to use our promo code AFC North Talk right there on the bottom of your screen. AFC North Talk, all one word. All right. With that, we have more super chats to get to, but it's going to be one of those shows. So before we go, we're going to get to everyone's super chats. I promise. We have a ton of super chats to get to. We're going to get to all of them. But we're about a half hour in. We got 700 people watching. Thank you all for watching so far. Make sure you like the video, by the way, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. But Ace, let's start with you. Walk me through the AFC Championship game that was.
It's insane, man. Like, this whole thing has been a culmination of a long time coming, man. Like, when we first started doing this show, I felt like that was one of the best things that happened to me, because for years, obviously we played in the same division, but having to learn and watch every single game in this division just taught me a lot about my own team. Like, I think when we first did the rankings, I really thought that we were closer than we really were until I started to watch the games and, give kudos and respect. Like, even with the Steelers, right? Like, I remember one of the first years I watched that secondary, and I was like, they're way better than, a lot of people give them credit for. Like, just watching this team do their thing, learning about the D-line that the Steelers have, watching the Browns and seeing Myles Garrett and the guys that they have over there and all of the weapons that they had on offense and the offensive line. With the Browns, it was always the offensive line. Like, that offensive line was insane. Like, anytime you turn on the tape with those guys, it's that. And then you have to watch and look at the Ravens and all of these things and that masterful secondary and everything. And, it was a rough season for the Bengals. It was an extremely rough season. And when I looked around, I was like, man, we're not measuring up at the other positions like other teams in this division. And obviously, this is one of the toughest divisions of football. You might be able to say the NFC West is a stronger division. It's a toss-up. But obviously, when you play in a division with the Steelers, the Ravens, and then the Browns are pretty much the new up-and-coming team and considerably the best team in the division at that point in time, you're like, man, where are we at? And then you get this guy by the name of Joe Burrow. And, I'm coming off of the Andy Dalton stuff. We finally have gotten him out of there after dealing with 10 years. And I have some sense of hope, right? And so, obviously, things start to go left and he gets hurt, right? But as I'm watching this kid through the season, I just cannot believe what he is doing. He comes in his rookie season without a preseason. No kind of like, this is COVID and everything. There's no kind of like, he's at a disadvantage. Like, there's no real like training camp or anything like that. This guy's first game, I think, was in the preseason or something like, I don't know what it was. I think it was it was no preseason. So his first game was against the Chargers.
The Chargers,
week
yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Week one, Herbert. Right?
Came down to that last play.
No, it was Tyrod Taylor.
It was Tyrod Taylor. It was Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, yeah. It was a Tyrod. Yeah. Well, no, didn't Tyrod come in halfway through that game? Well, no.
Tyrod started. Then he ended up getting like stabbed or something. Remember, he had that.
Yeah. He got stabbed.
That's how Herbert. That's how Herbert ends up.
That man has no luck.
So it was insane because I'm watching everything lead up, and the first thing that kind of changed my opinion on him or made me take notice was how, like, you had all of these veterans like Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins, AJ Green, just talking about how insanely like smart and how this kid wasn't a rookie. He didn't come in like that. And so we're waiting to see it, right? In first game, this guy almost comes back, and because they get a push off on AJ Green, this guy, like, in his very first game has like a comeback against the Chargers. There is no way that Bengals roster, given the talent that they had, should even be in that game, right? And then he gets the push off from AJ Green at the end, which ruins like the storybook ending to the start of his career. And then, Fat Randy misses a field goal. And I watch all of these games and we play all of these teams, and then we go and play the Browns. In my head, if you remember from watching me on this podcast, I gave ultimate respect to the Browns last year because I knew that they were going to be a great team. I did not expect us to be in that game with the Browns in week 2. And then this kid goes out and throws for 61 times in the L. The Browns were the better team. They ended up winning, but it was a close game. And I was like, how is this game close? Like, there's no way, we should be able to stick with these guys because, at the time we were going through so many injuries. Like, we had lost DJ. Like, our entire D-line was essentially blown up. Like, we had so many injuries there where you talk about Geno was gone. Like, we were signing guys off of the street essentially. And so as these games are going on, I'm seeing Joe Burrow kind of get frustrated because he's not used to losing, right? And he's not getting frustrated with like the staff or anything, but he's just going through all of these games. In the first game where Joe Burrow really showed that he had, the heart of a champion was that Eagles game. He took a ton of shots in that Eagles game where I believe we ended up tying with them or something like that. But you could just see how special like the kid was. And he was doing all of these things where it was like, first rookie quarterback to throw for 60 times. It was something like he was the first rookie quarterback since Andrew Luck to have like 300-yard games. And he was doing all of this. And we knew that we didn't have a line. We knew that we pretty much had a washed up roster. Right when you get to that point where he beats the Titans last year, it's just like, man, this guy is ascending to a whole level where once he starts to learn how to win these games, he's going to be a problem. And then you get the train wreck that is him getting hurt in the Washington game, where, by the way, against one of the top defenses in the league, he had 200 passing yards at halftime. So he's on fire in that game. And then we lose him. And so that is my breaking point in the season, because even though it's a bad season, I'm still intrigued by watching Joe Burrow. And Quincy, I think you came in that stream, and I was just like, and the funny thing is, ironically,
like when
I said,
got hurt,
you
he
still
was
want
like,
Jamar Chase now? Do you still want Chase now? And it's funny because I was frustrated. And it was a lot of people that watched, I think, me back then. Over the years, I had gotten so frustrated with everything that I just was not myself. And so when that happened, and I had to continue to watch all of the other teams, it just put me at a point where it's like, man, what are we going to do to get back? We've got to fix a lot of these things with this team. There's so many things that have to be fixed, starting with the offensive line and all of that. Right. So then we go into the offseason. And if it's not for that, the Bengals don't end up with Chase. I was never really against Chase as far as his talent. I thought that he was a talented guy, watched the film, definitely was special. I just knew that taking the beating that Joe Burrow did, he needed to have an offensive line. And that's why I always had confidence with Joe Burrow, because the numbers that he was putting up with no line, I was just like, man, if we get this guy a line, he is going to just light this thing up. And, we go into the offseason. They finally start doing things that make sense. They get rid of the offensive line coach and Jim Turner. They get rid of Bobby Hart, which I don't know why they kept him for that long. They get rid of Michael Jordan, all of these guys. They start adding to the defense. And I start to see like certain hires and stuff get made. And I'm like, all right, well, when we had Joe, even though we only won 4 games, there were like 6 or 7 games that could have gone either way. Like if a play goes this way or that way, he could have won 9 or 10 games. And so that's sticking in the back of my head. They go out there and they make the right changes. And then I already know how good T. Higgins is. Like a lot of people, that kind of slid under the radar. He almost broke A.J. Green's rookie record last year. And so they go out and they get Jamar Chase. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a problem with it because I knew that they brought Frank Pollock back. I knew that that was going to be way better than Jim Turner. I knew that they went out and got Riley Reif. I knew that Jonah Williams was solid. He just couldn't stay healthy. That was his issue. I knew that we had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. And so coming into the season, I had a feeling that they were going to be better than expectations. And the one thing that just was crazy for me was also Jamar Chase. Like the same thing and the same kind of heart of a champion, the same kind of drive, the same kind of confidence we saw from him. Like when he came in immediately, it was just this, we're done losing. Like this isn't the standard or any of that. We're not doing any of that. And the first thing, it was funny because we talked to his dad and he got a lot of flack because he came out and said he was going to break all the records, right? And then he came out and he said 1-0. And a lot of people, and this was before the Vikings game, right? This is before they've won the game. He says 1-0. He tweets 1-0. And it just was a change of the mindset. It wasn't that he was being cocky, because when we talked to his dad, he said that that's what they learned at LSU. He was like, it's not that you're saying that you're just going to win this game immediately and the other team has no chance. It's that you're going to take every game week by week. You're going to try to go 1-0. And that's what he was trying to do when he did that. And then when we see them play, and even backing it up before that, the other thing is when Joe Burrow showed up in OTAs way before he was supposed to, just to send a message to the team that he was back, that was insane. Like the type of character that these guys have shown and the strength that they've shown has just been amazing. And as the weeks go on, it's just like, man, okay, we just went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers in a game that we really should have won if both of these kickers don't start missing field goals.
Yeah, strange.
Like we just took Aaron Rodgers to overtime and they were like the Super Bowl favorites. Then we go to M&T, and this is coming off of us losing 5 in a row. Lamar Jackson has had our number this entire time, and they go into M&T Stadium and they just explode. When I saw that, those string of games against those opponents, I'm like, this team could be really good. Like they're going to be a lot better than people think. And then we go in and to go into also the Steelers week. I figured that we would split with the Steelers. I didn't think that we would sweep them. If you remember at the beginning of the season, I said that the Browns would. I never said that the Bengals would. The Bengals have never gone into any game ever outside of the Ryan Tannehill one. I think that's when it changed. But before that, it was always a mental thing when we had to play the Steelers. We never thought that we could beat the Steelers. Any of the players that were on our team, it was just like whenever we would have to play the Steelers, even if we were in prime position to win the game, we would just fumble it away to the Steelers. When they went in there, it was just different. It's like I've never been in a game with the Steelers where our players have been confident, played with confidence, especially in places like Heinz Field, M&T Stadium. These aren't places that the Bengals have gone into historically and just done things like that. And the biggest thing at the end of the game was when they went into M&T Stadium. If this were the Bengals teams of old with, you know, the AJ Greens and the Vontaze Burficts, they would have celebrated and did all of that. The first thing that they did was they just walked off of the field like it was just another game. And that's when you knew that the standards for this team and that the personalities on this team, it was a completely different team. This is not the old Bengals. This is not those guys that were there. And then, you know, they go on these kind of lulls where they start to lose games. And so it starts to creep back in. And then people are talking about Zach Taylor. Is he the right coach? What's going on? How did we lose to the Jets? And, you know, the whole time I'm watching this, Joe Burrow's having turnovers and everybody's blaming Zach. And I'm like, look, guys, Zach isn't the problem. Joe's got to stop turning the ball over. Like you can't throw 3 interceptions or anything like that and win the game. And it got to the point where it's kind of a tug of war. I think even in that 49ers game when he was at 15, he decided to kind of be conservative and not really, put the ball in Joe's hands. But then when he lost by not doing that, that's when everything kind of changed. And Joe kind of clicked as well as far as being safer with the ball. And then, you know, they have this bye week. And it's funny because this is the time that we talked with Jamar Chase's dad. And he was like, you know, they really needed that bye week. They needed to get things going. And Chase was on fire at the time. And so then a lot of people were kind of unknowingly kind of turning the receivers against each other. They were like, oh, well, T. Higgins isn't the wide receiver number 1. Chase is the wide receiver number 1 and this and that. And he was really frustrated about that because, you know, those guys love playing with each other. They're good friends and stuff like that. Chase actually isn't a selfish guy. And so he was upset that people were trying to tear the Migos apart instead of keeping them together. That, you know, that's a real thing, right? Because everybody wants to get their targets and stuff like that. And he just said that it came at the right time because they had that string of losses. They come out the next week. I think it's like week 11. And I said this. I was like, you know, from week 11 on, this is playoff football because the AFC is not guaranteed. We had lost, I think, the first slot in the AFC after losing the game. Everything was tied. I was like, look, you have to win as many games as you can because if you don't do that, you're not going to be in the playoffs. So, like, this whole hot start isn't going to matter. And I think this team just turned it on and went to another level through that streak. It was like they were playing playoff football since then. Then they get into this first round. And, you know, when I see the Raiders game, we beat the Raiders pretty handily, but we're playing them at home. And I'm like, all right, I feel confident in this because I don't have Andy Dalton this time. I don't have Marvin Lewis coaching. This is a completely different team. They're not going to lose this game at home. Still ends up being a close game. Defense helps pull that one out. And then we go on to week 2. And so I'm loving this because when I look at the playoff path originally, I'm seeing Derek Carr and the Oakland Raiders, Ryan Tannehill. Then I have to play the winner of the Bills or the Chiefs. That is a sweet path to try to get to the Super Bowl. Like that's a pretty, especially if I have the advantage at quarterback, I feel like that's a good path to get to there. So then we pull up to the Titans and I'm joining these spaces and me and Zim are in them. And, you know, the whole time, like, because me and Zim, we've been going through when this team was bad, when this team is good. We're analyzing all of this stuff. So we're asking them to really definitively give us a reason why they feel like they're going to win. And of course, it centers around Derrick Henry. But when we asked them, like, Derrick Henry hasn't played in this amount of time. We're a good run defense. What are you going to do then? And it was like they didn't want to talk about Ryan Tannehill. And it was funny to us because as Bengals fans, we knew about that with going through Andy Dalton. And so we're like, it's going to come down to the quarterback, right? And they just didn't want to deal with that. Now, to their credit, they did tell us about their defensive line. They do have a great defensive line. I think it's extremely underrated. And then we go on the road, we play in that crowd, and the Bengals are having issues with the sound and all kind of stuff like that. But then after Joe Burrow gets sacked 9 times, he just comes out and still finds a way to win that game. And that's just what Joe Burrow has been like. We saw that a lot his rookie year. And then we come to the next game. And so everybody forgets that in the first game against the Raiders, where they have these 2 good edge rushers, that they only had 2 sacks. The whole narrative is about 9 sacks. And I get it. I mean, you gave up 9 sacks in the game, right? I think before that, the most that we had given up, it may have been to the Steelers or the Ravens. It was like 7 sacks. I feel like the Steelers, his rookie year, got like 8 sacks or something on them. I feel like it was something like that. But
Ravens, one of them too. They got him a lot the first year.
Right. And, one of the things that the Bengals have done, not only with trying to help there, is they've actually tried to use things in the game plan to do that. And so then, I've seen how talented this Titans team is. And throughout the season, we played all of the edge rushers. I kept telling them, we play in a division with TJ Watt, Stephon Tuitt, Cam Hayward, Myles Garrett. Like, you guys aren't showing us anything that we haven't seen before. And so, we go into that game. We tell them that they're going to lose because of Ryan Tannehill. They lose because of Ryan Tannehill. Joe Burrow does his thing. We get into this Chiefs game. So everybody's talking about 9 sacks, this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But when I look at your actual defensive line, I see one elite D tackle, and then I see Melvin Ingram. We already know about Melvin Ingram. We've been talking about him all year on AFC North Talk. And they were just acting. They were just acting like this guy was like Nick Bosa or something, and I was like, he is not that. And essentially, they were just saying it was a lot of backpedaling and a lot of the same things that we had heard from the Titans. Oh, you guys have never been here before. Oh, you guys have never, you haven't been to any AFC championships and this and that, and you have to wait your turn, and we've been waiting for this and all of that. And it was a lot of the same stuff. And honestly, I will say this: the Chiefs fans gave us a lot more credit than the actual Titans fans. But instead of answering the elephant in the room, which was Week 17, we beat you in that game. We had to come back. It wasn't like we played with a lead. We had to come back. The division was on the line. The AFC number 1 seed was on the line. So this wasn't just another game. They kept deflecting from that and talking about crowd noise. The entire time, crowd noise. Oh, it's going to be so hard for you to play in Arrowhead. And I'm like, look, I understand that. I respect Arrowhead and all of that. If you think crowd noise is going to be your end-all, be-all for stopping Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, like on paper, if you just look at the Chiefs' defense versus our offense, which I think they played a way better game than I expected them to. I think you have to tip your hat to that defense because they played a lot better than I thought. Yeah, there was nothing that they were saying except for crowd noise. And I'm like, Pat Mahomes is this. And I'm like, yeah, Pat Mahomes is good, but we all watch the NFL. If you had to compare this Pat Mahomes season to his previous seasons, he's not playing at a Pat Mahomes level like he's been playing in the past, but this is playoff Pat. And so we're going into that, but I've got Joe Burrow. I feel like he's having a hot season as well. And so I feel like those 2 guys are going to cancel each other out. And it's going to come down to our defense versus your defense. And, when we started that game out and they come out and they settle, or I think we punt initially. And I'm like, oh, man, not in Arrowhead. This is not – we cannot get off to a slow start in Arrowhead. But me knowing my team, I'm like, this is the Bengals. We watched them this entire season. They just tend to do this. They're a second-half team sometimes. Like, this is just what they do. Yeah. And then the Chiefs get ready and they're coming out, and Pat Mahomes is just having his way. We're playing the soft zone, and I'm just like, what are we doing on defense? We're not getting any kind of pressure on the Mahomes with rushing forward. We're not blitzing anybody, and he's just eating us alive. It's like they're just letting Kelsey and Tyreek Hill just run wide open, and then we're settling for field goals, and we're punting and all of this. And then the Chiefs get the ball at halftime. the biggest play in that game, and to me, like when I was streaming it, was like, this isn't over. They have to try to stop them here. Maybe just hold them to a field goal. The Chiefs decided to go for it. I'm not mad at them for going for it. I understand what their thought process is there, because if you do score a touchdown against the Bengals and you go up by that many points, the game is probably over. Like, you're probably going to crush them so much mentally, especially in that environment, that it's over.
To that point, they had been just cutting through the defense like butter.
Yeah, it was like nothing.
I was like, yeah, they probably should, because you end the game here. You go up 22 or 24 before half, and you get the ball back.
And I'm sitting there with like my phone and I'm watching it on Yahoo Sports because my stream was delayed. But the Yahoo Sports thing, it does this thing where it lets you know that someone has scored, gives you a notification that they've scored before. So I'm getting anxiety because I'm just like, it's going to say Travis Kelce touchdown here in a second. And then Eli Apple makes the play. That tackle, I think, was the biggest play in the game. When he gets out on Tyreek Hill, stops him from getting into the end zone for them to get 0 before the half. I think that play was the play of the game. Then they come out in the second half, right? In the defense, we knew that they were going to make adjustments. I knew that. So I was sitting there like, I know that we're going to come out completely different. And generally, the Bengals actually scored their most points in the third quarter. But even in that third quarter, they weren't just blowing it up. But, when the defense started to come out and got that 3 and out, and they started to get some momentum, and then we come down and get those scores and tighten the game up. And then BJ Hill makes the play of his life with that intercept. It was just insane, bro. And then after that, it was just like, I tried to tell people, and this was the other thing. When people would talk about our offensive line and their defensive line, and we would give them credit and say, hey, yes, you're going to be able to have some success in the interior. I don't know about you beating Jonah Williams on the outside, Quentin Spain. You're going to have some success on the right side, possibly. I'm not going to put that past you. But they would never talk about our defense. They would never talk about the defensive line. They kind of just focus on the offense. And so we would always tell them, like, not only we're going to worry about your defense line, you have to worry about ours, because Trey Hendrickson is not a scrub. And so Trey Hendrickson, bro, the way that he was playing, and Sam Hubbard at the end of that game was just insane. They just could not block him. And, Lou, big credit to Lou for changing the defensive scheme and still doing the bracket coverage over the top of Kelce. He literally shut out essentially Kelce and Tyreek Hill in the entire second half. I thought those guys were going to have big days. McKinnon was doing some stuff on the ground, but the defense came to play. And then I just knew when Joe Burrow got a chance that he was going to do some things. And a lot of people sleep on T. Higgins. And I always tell people, you have to pick your poison with this team. If you're either going to double Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins is going to kill you, or you're going to play Jamar Chase man-to-man, and Jamar Chase is going to kill you, or you're going to get a combination of both. I kept telling Chiefs fans the entire week, you can double Chase. He's not going to get 266 this week, but T. Higgins, in that event that you do that, is going to go off for 100 yards. And I was so proud of T. Higgins. He had several clutch catches on some of those drives, because Bengals fans, sometimes they give him flack when he makes drops. And I always tell them, I'm like, whenever T makes a drop, he always makes up for it after that. He's always going to make big plays. He made some plays, but the real turning point in this game was when CJ Uzomah, after getting injured, comes back out of the locker room on his crutches. Like, after that happened, the entire game changed, and that just signified like the closeness with the team, them hearing all of this stuff from the media, why they weren't good enough, why they shouldn't be there, why the Bills game last year was the game that was the actual AFC championship. All of these slights where it's like, no, we've actually seen that the Bengals are good, but we're just going to overlook that because they've never been here before. Just all cumulated into that point. And then you get Joe Burrow coming out here doing his thing. And then you get the defense. And that's been the theme the last 3 games. They did it in the Raiders game against Derek Carr with Jermaine Pratt picking him off. They did it against the Titans with Tannehill at the end of the game to make the interception to get Joe Burrow and Chase and Evan McPherson in the field goal range. And then they do it again in this game, stopping them in overtime, getting that interception. By the way, by that safety tandem of Jesse Bates and Von Bell tipping it to each other, which was insane.
That went through. I'm sure that went through all of our minds, and it was like, all right, well, that the safety rankings.
No, I was watching
week,
that game. I was like, well, the safety rankings are trash.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, I was like, the next year's safety rankings are a lock it in, and won't be making the Minkah Fitzpatrick argument this year.
Well,
that part was just insane.
That's for later.
And then like Joe Mixon, man, like Joe Mixon is kind of the forgotten guy because everybody talks about the receivers and you kind of forget how good he is. And sometimes our offensive play calling, like some people will get upset if we start running the ball because they're like, oh, we have all of these weapons. Let's just not run the ball. And, you know, the way that he ran at the end of the game, I think helped us out. I know that a lot of people felt like he fumbled there at the end. I don't know. Like this was a game too where the Chiefs, there was literally a guy. We went on his podcast. We talked about X's and O's. We talked about what the Bengals could do to win, what we were worried about with the Chiefs. This guy said to us, the only thing that the Chiefs have to do is not commit 10 penalties and they win the game. And this was the perfect storm. And it was funny because a lot of the fans were like, this isn't going to go how it is. We're not going to score 3 points in a half. That's not going to happen. And this literally all of that happened. But the icing on the cake was that the Chiefs got all of the calls and they only had 2 penalties the entire game. That was like the icing on the cake because they just did anything to just not give the Bengals credit for winning that game. And so that happens. Evan McPherson comes out for the game-winning field goal. And it's like this team is different because I remember when I would get nervous whenever Randy Bullock would come out there on even a 36-yard field goal, I would get anxiety. And I just already knew that this kid was going to make it. And I just couldn't believe it because, you know, in the first half when we were down, all of the haters and everything, when I'm doing a live chat, all of them flooded in. It was like Ravens fans, it was Cowboys fans.
Oh, yeah, when
y'all are gonna get smoked and this and that. And by the end, all of them were gone and they were all quiet. And we were heading to the Super Bowl, and it was the best night of my life, other than the night that I married my wife and the night that my son was born. It was the third best night of my life.
Best sports moment night, associated night of your life.
And I just couldn't believe it, bro. It's just like we're playing in the Super Bowl. Obviously, you want to play the 49ers because you feel like that's a better matchup. But it's only right the way that this season has gone that they have to get that challenge of after going into Arrowhead and doing that, you got to go into LA and you got to beat the Rams to try to get the Super Bowl. So it's just surreal, man. Joe Burrow is he's on another planet. I don't know where this guy came from, but he is insane.
Surreal is the right word for that game because it was, again, like you said, you know, being down at halftime like that with how much the Chiefs were moving the ball, and then just that momentum shift that starts to happen at the beginning of the second half and everything that happened beyond there. Whew, crazy. All right, we got a ton of super chats to get through. We are
real quick. That play, the one where I was like, the Bengals gonna win this, was when Joe Burrow, because like both quarterbacks have been doing Houdini stuff all game, right? Where they were slipping and sliding out of sacks. Yes, I don't think Patrick Mahomes was connecting on his as much as Joe Burrow was, right? But that one play where Joe Burrow was sacked like essentially 5 times and then broke it all just to
Chris
get
Jones
over that over.
Chris Jones one where he breaks out of the crib. I was just like, this guy.
I was like,
this is not
this
real.
Kid's going to the Super Bowl. This kid's going to the Super Bowl. He's winning it all because this is just when you make those kind of plays, it's destiny on your side almost. Like there is another force powering you through all of that because that was just like, wow. You know, at some point, you know, I know we're all fans of our teams here, but I like to say, you know, I love the Browns. I'll never cheer for anybody other than the Browns, but I'm a fan of football more than I'm just a fan of a specific team, right? I love the game first. And when you see something like that happen, a story like the Cincinnati Bengals, an emergence like Joe Burrow, there's a fan side in you that wants to deny it and hate on it. But the football fan in me goes, I can't do nothing but respect that and appreciate that as a fan of the sport, because this is, I mean, what Ace is going through right now, this is every fan's dream. Worst to first, having all these damn close playoff games.
Right.
Like, come on, man. This is, whether you win the Super Bowl or not, you will never forget this season. You will tell your kids about this season. And, you know, to be honest with you, you might forget about this season if it goes the way it looks, because it don't look like they're just going to be done after this, right? This don't look like a miracle team. I know everybody likes to put the Cinderella thing on it, but I mean, come on, man. They got some of the best wide receivers in football, one of the best running backs in football, and one of the best quarterbacks in football. Ain't no Cinderella about that.
Yeah,
this ain't Kirk Cousins. This ain't Case Keenum going to the NFC Championship. This is something different going on down there in Cincinnati.
By the way, speaking of that play, as someone who had Joe Burrow over 8.5 rushing yards in that game, I was a huge, Quincy and Sonny will know we were talking during the game.
I was like, he got you over that over in the most insane way a human being can possibly get you over that over.
Yeah. It was like the Steelers fan in me wanted him to get sacked, but then once he got out of the sack, I'm like, oh, run. And then he got it. And
it was so crazy going from that game, right? The AFC Championship game where the quarterbacks are especially in the first half, both quarterbacks making you do stuff go, oh my God, wow. And then you watch the NFC Championship game and both the quarterbacks are making you do that because they're missing throws. And you're just like, oh, it's like a world.
Mahomes in the second half was the worst quarterback.
No, Mahomes in the second half, I was like, man, this is I don't want to pile on, but like I have to talk about it from an area in which I know. That's kind of like what Baker does in the third quarter, right? Where he just like all of a sudden he looks very flat-footed, very shaken, can't throw the football correctly, can't be on target. And then like you could tell mentally he just was out of it at a certain point. Like it seemed like to me that the Chiefs just ran out of juice. They did not. I think they thought that they were going to be able to come in, beat Cincinnati in the first half real quick, and then go to bed and rest for 2 weeks and play the Super Bowl. I didn't think that they expected Cincinnati to have any heart, any comeback in them, because once they did, it was evident they had nothing left, right? After that first half, they had nothing left. I mean,
after Mahomes' interception, I think it all changed. Mahomes interception, and then Mahomes went nuts from that point.
I think, honestly, it changed after the stop in the first half, right? After they didn't put it away right there, and then the Bengals got that stop to start the second half. I know they kind of stalled out both offenses in that third quarter, but it was just like, oh, okay, the Bengals are still playing. And I think the Chiefs were ready to be like, hey, man, like, I need a breather. We just played overtime last week. And by the time they got the overtime, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, that decision he made there in overtime where he just threw that thing up to Tyreek Hill, that was a tired decision. That was, you know what? I hope something's there, right? That's the meme gone wrong, right? Yeah, F it. Tyreek Hill there somewhere? Nah, dog. Was it Von Bell that got the interception?
Yeah,
never have to pay for a single thing in Cincinnati again. So
never again.
It just felt like the Chiefs kind of they didn't expect to be in a fight, which is stupid for them. They lost this game last time they played. And they ran out of juice, and the Bengals, they're real tired of everybody saying they're on the underdog. And after watching what I've watched the last 3 weeks, I don't know how they're an underdog anymore.
And with the Chiefs, that's the one thing that I warned them about too is, they were a team, they were so used to just being the class of the AFC. The AFC just wasn't a challenge for them anymore. Like they just, like even during the regular season, right, when they were losing those games, I remember Andy Reid came out and said that he wanted them to lose more games because they just weren't fighting with it. They just were like, all right, let's just cruise control to the playoffs. We're just going to run through everybody. We're the Chiefs. We've been here 4 times. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes is, when you have success and stuff, and the Bengals are going to have to deal with this next year, you gotta stay hungry and find a way to stay hungry. And not to say that the Chiefs weren't hungry, but I feel like their main goal for getting back was that they wanted to get their revenge in the Super Bowl, right? But it was against Tom Brady. And I was like, well, Tom Brady's not there anymore. So is there still the same kind of like hunger there? And that's one of the things that when you have so much success, you gotta stay hungry, because you see teams that are successful in the NFL, unless you're Patriots, they kind of get comfortable, right? And then someone catches them slipping. And I think Joe Burrow was just a little bit hungrier this time.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Super chats, because we got to catch up on these. All right, we got Zion here. Zion, your $2 super chat says, "Yes, sir. Bengals to the Super Bowl." Another one here from Dallas, $5 super chat says, "It's crazy. Everybody projected the Bengals to be 4-13, 6-11, and basement of the North. Houday Ace, congratulations, man. Jealous."
Appreciate that, Dallas.
Nova Stone here, $2 super chat says, is Lamar a top 15 quarterback? I don't think so. Can't win.
Yes, he is. Come on, Lyle. Let's just be real. Lamar is still like a top
They were
5,
8-3
top
with
7
the practice
quarterback.
squad because they had like Lamar. Come on, dog. Come on. Like, you think that's not Lamar about to go like it's about this division? You might need to have like 14 wins to win the division next year.
Yeah, this division is gonna be insane.
They might all beat up on themselves though, and that'll bring that win total down. But yeah, it's gonna be a very, very good win.
Somehow, some way, the Browns are gonna sweep the Bengals.
Diddy here, $2 super chat says Whitworth and OBJ versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Whitworth, you're gonna have to get put on a plate, my guy. We loved you in Cincinnati. We still love you, but we got to go through you for the Super Bowl.
How old is he? He's like 38 now, right?
Sometimes
I think he's 40.
Like forever, man.
I think he's 40. He was like 38.
Dude, Trent Williams
years ago
playing the best he's ever had. He's old too. Like these dudes.
Andrew Whitworth's gotta be. He's gotta be 40. He's got to be. Yeah, he's 40,
he's
bro.
old,
Because like when we walked away from him, he was like 37, 38. That's why I'm like, yeah, he's got to be 40. And honestly, I'm just gonna keep it 100. Like Whitworth is one of the best left tackles in football, but the Bengals weren't wrong for thinking that he was about to fall off a cliff. You can't. I mean, if the guy was 37. Like you can't be like, I'm gonna give this guy a 3-year extension. Like what he's doing is just insane at 40 years old.
Yeah, crazy. All right. Roe Raven Smith, $7 super chat says, what a sight watching my mom and all her Bengals gear come to tears experiencing that comeback win. I was disgusted, but I'm happy for y'all. Chase Goat.
How did that happen?
Yeah, that's an interesting
story. I've seen some things like there's a lot of like Bengals fans in like Baltimore, and so I don't know. Maybe there is some of that, but I have for some reason there's like a lot of Maryland Bengals fans. I think it may be because they don't like the Ravens, so they just cheer for another team.
Well, maybe it's like they were cheering for the Bengals before they got a team.
Possibly. But nah, some of these guys I know are like young. Like some of them have Ohio ties, but it's just weird. I don't know. I've seen like some Bengals Maryland fans, and I'm just like, how did you become?
And it's weird that they wouldn't be Washington fans because that area before Baltimore got there was
who would
Washington or Baltimore.
Who with a choice would choose
or the Cowboys? Team. Sometimes they do the Cowboys.
Who would want to
talking about back in the day? Washington wasn't bad back in the day.
Yeah, they were good.
They've always been kind of an embarrassment. Their ownership has always been embarrassing.
Well, ever since they got Snyder, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, even before that, if you look into their history, I mean, like they're one of the last teams that didn't want to hold off of segregation. Like they've always had an embarrassing history.
Nova Stone here, $2 super chat says the media hates Tom Brady. They false accuse him of cheating. The media hates Tom Brady.
Yeah, the media hates Tom Brady. Yeah, okay.
I do love this though, because you can really, Steeler fans be like, the media hates the Steelers. And it's like
it's like that Russian egg thing where it's like the biggest one is Tom Brady fans complaining about the media, and then it's Steeler fans complain and then all at the end it's like other teams actually complaining about the media, like not really giving them a fair shake. The Bengals are in the AFC Championship game, and it feels like they have not played a national TV game all year.
They're in the Super Bowl. We only had one.
Yeah, I think we only had one. This is their second nationally televised game. Meanwhile, people are like, "Yeah, Tom Brady."
You got the 4 o'clock. The 4 o'clock's better because that's when you get flex. They got flex in the 4 o'clock for that Chiefs game.
Nope. We finally don't have to play in the first slot now. You just have to. You literally have to play us in the Super Bowl. Who
has the Super Bowl this year? NBC.
NBC, yeah.
This is their first time being on Sunday Night Football in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Going into the season, we do that. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. We do that.
I know, but
watch.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's not.
None of us thought they were going to be 4-win bad. We thought they were going to be like 7-8 win bad.
Yeah, frisky. Everyone, Frisky. Everyone thought frisky. It's a frisky year for the Bengals, and then next year they're good. But they went. They said,
"Nah, at the timeline, we doing this right now." You know what I mean?
They went straight. Yeah, again 0 to 100. I mean, they just went right.
We were just not Bengal fans. Wait a year or two. Bengal fans are like, "Nah, it's happening."
The only thing that made me think that it was like when Bengals fans were saying Super Bowl, I think that's because the Chiefs had that slow start.
1-3.
So it was like the AFC was like open at the time. So it was like, oh, there's a world where we might not have to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. Like what?
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Cutie from Jomo, $5 super chat says Chiefs fans are always pressed with announcers. What did the Chiefs do in the second half to be discussed? Bunch of babies.
Apparently, they have a chip on their shoulder with the media. Apparently, they get mad when if they're not picked to repeat or something like that. They were like upset.
Fan base.
Wait, did you guys see the tweet? Did you guys see the tweet from the TV station yesterday?
No. What did it say?
There's a TV station in Kansas City. One of their TV stations tweeted out like, they said we would never get here. They all doubted us.
They were saying,
and we're so proud of you or whatever. Everybody saw that tweet. I mean, look it up. I mean, it is terrific. It's like one of those like, what universe do you live in? Where
it's
people
real.
were like,
it is real because they were saying that they were like, well, where does Cincinnati get this chip on their shoulder? And if you're talking about your chip on the shoulder, let's talk about ours. And I'm like, dude, you're complaining about them not picking you guys to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's so ridiculous. My goodness.
Dude, every fan base gets like that once they get into their Twitter bubbles. They just all get convinced that nobody respects them, nobody cared. And it's just like, all right, dog.
Hal Kier, $2 super chat says, if Pat's the Grim Reaper, Joe must be immortal.
Joe Shiesty.
Well, y'all saw Jimmy Garoppolo about to go Grim Reaper. Then he reaped his own soul.
Who Dey? Oh boy, our friend here, Izzy, world's biggest Bengals fan.
He's been there since day one.
Day one. He's been waiting days, weeks, maybe even a month for this. Who Dey TV $5 super chat says the press coverage versus zone coverage was night and day. Took Tyree out of the game plan in the second half and made Mahomes look civilian in the second half.
The Bengals did something I thought was ballsy. I mean, they pretty much went into a quarters look with 3 rushers at times.
Yeah, drop eight.
And they did that thing where like
smothered the field.
Sam Hubbard like dropped back into coverage, and then there was like that long play, and then he came up and got Mahomes. That was Lou Anarumo was doing this thing,
and I was shocked. I was like, man, the Andy Reid. Like, I don't know if it was an Andy Reid thing or Patrick Mahomes, but I think they got real thirsty to like get a big shot in there because the Bengals are basically saying like, you can have whatever you want for 5-10 yards, dog.
Well, it wasn't though, because what they were dropping. Watch The Athletic. The Athletic did a very good their podcast. Robert Mays and Nate Tice. I got it. Hold on 1 second. I got to run.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think he was saying that The Athletic was going to do something. I'm definitely going to check that article out for sure. I'm not sure where we left off in the super chat.
I'm trying to find it. I think I'm close to it. Chiefs fans pressed about the media. Pat the Grim Reaper. All right, this next one is from Who Dey. We got that one already. All right, man. Chef 22504 with a super chat who says, when Andy threw the ball out of bounds on 4th down.
Oh my goodness. That is famous because the Bengals were trying to win that game and Andy Dalton threw it out of bounds. And honestly, like that's another difference between, because I feel like sometimes, and even with Carson Palmer with this, sometimes the quarterback position for me is more about like your personality. Can you rile people up? Like, can you stand up in the face of a challenge and the adversity and come through? And some people just aren't built like that. And I feel like when Andy Dalton did that, where it's like, oh, I'm just not even gonna, like, dog, I would respect it so much more if you tried to hurl it up and it gets intercepted. Do something. Don't throw it out of bounds. Like that's like, when I was just like,
check it down. Like
that's like insane.
The only one that's close to that is the check down, right?
Right.
It's the panic check down on like a 4th and 15, where it's like, you threw the check down, dog. You threw the check down. Those are the only 2 decisions that'll make you lose faith in your quarterback. If he throws an interception, because again, like with the stuff with Baker that didn't bug me the first 3 years, was like, okay, he threw those interceptions, but he was trying to make a play. Then this year it was like, dog, you out here throwing a check down? You throwing it out of bounds. And actually, Patrick Mahomes did that this game where he kind of forgot the down and distance in that final drive there because he tried to call a timeout right after he threw that little screen pass to Tyreek Hill, which I just don't understand why that was a play that was called. I mean, like the obvious thinking would be just throw it up to Kelsey, see if you get a 50-50 ball, hope the ball lands out of bounds, and then just kick the field goal. You know, but he lost his poise. Joe Burrow didn't. Down 19 on the road against the best football team on planet Earth up to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
but when like you said though, It's like about the mindset and the poise. And there was a play. I always remember this too, because it's funny and it sounds like a hot take now. And I wish Twitter and stuff was as big as it was back then. But 2009 Carson Palmer, there was like a play in that Jets game where he had a similar one where he just like gave up. And like, instead of trying to do something to win in that game, and I have to go back and watch it. But I remember after seeing that, and like him not really being accountable, him kind of letting Chad take the blame for everything. He just wasn't the kind of leader that Joe Burrow is. And I think when you have a quarterback, you got to have somebody that's got the mindset that they're never going to give up. Even if they're down 30, no matter what it is, they're just going to keep that mindset and still try to win the game. And, you know, the playmakers thing with Andy Dalton, playmakers, like 1, 2, 3 playmakers, like nobody believed in Andy Dalton. And you can't have like your quarterback be that guy. And it's so important that you have somebody that can rally the troops. And Ben did that with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, you got to have that guy that you believe in and rally around. And the Bengals, like, a lot of people let Carson Palmer slide with that. The Bengals never had that, I feel like, in Carson Palmer, who was, I would say, more talented and a better player than Andy Dalton, obviously, as a passer. And then Andy Dalton just didn't have that. He just didn't inspire confidence. And that's what you got to have from that quarterback position.
Yeah, it's a world of difference if you have that guy at quarterback, because even defensively, your defense is always gonna be like, man, we get enough stops, we're gonna be back in this thing. Versus when you have somebody who's not adept to coming back from a bunch of points, like people say with Andy Dalton, where it's like, we already down 21, dog. He's
on the sideline like this. I saw this so many times with Andy Dalton just on the sideline, holding on to the shoulder pads. Like,
one of my favorite looks.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The face where it's like, man, what happened? It's like, you happened, dog. Do something. Like,
all right, I apologize. I had to step away for a second.
Super chat.
No, you were talking about that breakdown. I wanted to hear about the breakdown with the Athletic.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, yeah, sorry. Nate Tice and Nate Tice, who's actually Mike Tice's kid, and then Robert Mays did a great breakdown. And obviously they can't show the all-22 yet because it's not out, but actually you can see some of it on Twitter now. They were showing the dots. And what they were doing a lot was they were playing the same kind of 3 high look or 2 high look, but with press man underneath and then bringing robbers all over the place. So they kept bringing robbers around, and that's why Mahomes never, that's why they kept taking away the underneath stuff. You noticed in the second half, there were those 2 incompletions on third down. One was to Pringle or Hill in press man, and the other one was to Kelsey, right, where it just went off their fingertips. It was Mahomes needed to put it on a spot. It wasn't like it was in the first half. The first half was like wherever Mahomes wanted to go with the football, that guy was wide ass open in the first half. I mean, just wide ass open.
Yeah.
In the second half, everything Mahomes had to kind of put it on a line and just put it where only the receiver could get it, because that guy was in press and he didn't know what he was seeing. You could very clearly see Mahomes didn't understand what he was looking at on a play-to-play basis in the second half, because he didn't know who was dropping out and who was coming down, and is this safety the deep third, or is he coming down into a robber and someone else going to that? And he had to diagnose as the play went, and it meant that as he's trying to process, he's trying to figure out what he's looking at. Wait, who's open? And it all culminates in that last play, the play where he takes he gets the fumble and all that. If you watch the all-22 of that, he doesn't know what he's looking at. Again, this is on the goal line. He still doesn't know what he's looking at. He's watching Kelsey. Kelsey comes open. Kelsey's open for a touchdown, but he doesn't believe it because, again, he's like, is there a robber coming here? And then, so he starts to scramble around. Pringle comes open. He, again, doesn't believe himself. I mean, what's so impressive to me about what the Bengals did in this game. Look, Burrow was good. I thought Burrow made some nice plays. Jamar Chase, the 50-50 ball he won in the end zone, all that was awesome. But what this defense did, specifically what the defensive coordinator did, the adjustments they made in the second half of this football game, that was as impressive as anything I've seen from the Bengals this year, because they made Patrick Mahomes look human, something we thought it was impossible, right? The only time we saw him look this human was when he had no offensive line, right? He's just out there to hike and then just immediately running for his life. It wasn't like that. I mean, he had pressure in the second half.
He looked better than he did in this game. Like that game, it was like, yeah, you could see what's going wrong with him. He was still making some throws, like incredible throws. This game, it was like, oh, he don't know. He looked like a rookie.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
I agree. He deserves to lose. No, he deserves to lose this game. For as bad
I want to ask this, because I have a theory on this, and it sounds insane, but like Lou did nothing. He kept playing the soft zone and like allowing these guys to appear like they would just be open all game. Do you think that he did that on purpose in the first half, just to in the second half completely change what his strategy was, to kind of like make him comfortable, think that I'm gonna have this all the time, and then like with switching it up like that so much, because like he wasn't blitzing anyone in the first half.
Right. It's an interesting thought. You don't obviously. I mean, they were scoring so easily. That you do. If you're Lou and you're sitting there, and you're like, all right, I got this game plan in the second half that I really believe in. You almost feel like he would have switched to it earlier because of how poor they were playing in the first half. Right. But I do think there's something to the idea of like it's the old Belichick thing, right? Come out in the second half with we're saving stuff for the second half because we don't want to give this to you early. We don't want you to have time to make adjustments for this. Mm-hmm. And I think that is part of it. Or like maybe Lou had this in his head in the first half, like we got to get out of this too high, soft zone stuff. We got to get out of this. But I don't want to do it before halftime because I don't want Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Bieniemy in halftime going, okay, how do we beat this new look that they just showed us? You want to save that till the third quarter when they got to do it on the fly, and they couldn't do it.
And then they brought in the Trey Flowers on Kelsey. Like they were doing some different stuff in the second half.
They were in dime a lot. Yeah, they were in dime a lot.
It's one of those things too. It's like where the Bengals spent a lot of the offseason just getting veterans right on that defense. And one of the things Bill Belichick talks about that helps him out, and what you hear from like other NFL veterans who's played with Bill Belichick, they're like, one of the reasons he likes to get veterans is because he knows that, hey, you probably ran all the defenses, right? So if I want to adjust and come up with some mismatch of a defense in the second half, I could just tell you to do this thing, have this responsibility, and you're going to know what to do because you've been a professional. And I think just the addition of guys like Mike Hilton, Cheeto, who's been around for a while, you know what I mean? Like, having those veterans on top of guys who you already had, you got your young guys like Logan Wilson on that defense and on the defensive line, but having that ability there of knowledge just gives you so much versatility, so that if you do want to run a very unique defense, you can, you know what I mean, and you can do it in the second half because these guys have done it before, right? I think it was one of the things that I definitely overlooked about this Bengals team was the significance of those small Pittsburgh Steeler-like signings, right? Where it's just like, hey, man, you probably never – Mike Hilton, not a household name, but we're going to get him. Cheeto, he not a household name, but we're going to get him. Just a bunch of really solid guys on defense that knew the game, that can adjust and, sometimes adaptability. You look at the Belichick defenses. Very rarely he has like a dude on there, but like usually those dudes don't pan out other places because Belichick knows what he needs. He just needs you to be malleable, and he can just put you in the position to be successful. And that's what Lou Anarumo did. There's no way not to give the Bengals credit. I've seen people already saying like, oh, it was a collapse by the Chiefs. No, man. Like the Bengals.
It was, but because of what the Bengals did. The Bengals forced them into a collapse.
TNT at the base and blew that thing up, and that's why it fell apart. They didn't just fall on themselves. They fell apart because of specifically everything that, like, I've never seen Patrick Mahomes have to hold the ball for 10 seconds and have no confidence in where he's going to go. Again, they made the best who was at that point, right, the best quarterback on planet Earth, look like not just human. He looked bad. He looked like a rookie, right? Now people are going to actually talk about all summer, which is going to be erroneous. Not everybody's going to be able to do what the Bengals did. But now all summer people are going to actually say, hey, man, Bengals figured out Patrick Mahomes. Like,
but they because this is the second game that it's happened. It's not just one half. Like he kind of did the same thing in the other game where it's like after they come out in the second half, they confused them. They only scored 3 points. They were supposed to go up. It was very similar. Like they were supposed to go up 3 scores, and Tyreek Hill drops like that deep bomb that should have been a touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like the same situation. And then in the second half, they just Lou's definitely figured something out. He's definitely figured something out with him. But I don't think that means that everybody's going to figure out.
Everybody just assumes, you know what I mean? When one team can do it to somebody, it's like the whole Lamar Jackson thing. Oh, we figured out Lamar. And I remember Sonny was like, I think you were talking about how somebody was talking about how the Chargers figured out Lamar his rookie year.
Yeah, put in dime. Yeah, put in dime. Like, put in dime all the time.
Yeah, it's funny. It was like, do you have 10 good corners that you can throw out?
Well, it was like using linebackers. Yeah, it was like you were using linebackers as if they were dime secondary players.
Personnel to get away with that. And not everybody's gonna be that flexible. I remember when the Browns were trying to do something similar to what the Bengals did. It was an absolute disaster. Justin Herbert just killed us because we kept forgetting guys. Like not every team can play zone to that high of a level. It's because the Bengals run it all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and
it's a dangerous
Tony,
way to play Mahomes.
Say, Mike Hilton is a fun player to have in your defense.
Oh,
like
so
that
good,
blitz
right?
when he comes off of that slot corner blitz is crazy. That was one of the reasons that we signed him. Just was from playing you guys and the headache that he caused for our offensive staff.
I know, and it sucks because like I said before the season, I was just really hopeful that they would use him the wrong way because I think Mike Hilton very clearly, he's not a big guy, so he has he has his flaws. But no, they've
right.
Especially during this
when they had him on Kelsey, I was like, hold on, what's going on here?
Exactly. Time out. What are we doing? All right, where did you guys get to any super chats while I was gone?
Yeah,
we got to a couple while he was out, right, Quincy?
Okay.
Yeah, we did one where at Brandon Monroe.
Got it. Okay, so let's do Zion here. That clutch play Eli Apple made on Tyreek Hill. That was the end of the first half. What a dumb,
almost had that interception. Had that interception. That would have been I would have loved to have seen Twitter's reaction to that. That would have been insane.
We didn't do Brandon yet.
Okay, Brandon Moore. Paul. Okay, gotcha. Brandon with a $5 super chat says Palmer needs to apologize to the Bengals and the city.
Oh yeah, I mean Carson Palmer. Like the thing about Carson Palmer, obviously you could get behind him with some of the things that he said about ownership, but the fact that he quit and kind of used that as excuses instead of doing what he needed to do to get that team into where they needed to be, he just wasn't an accountable person. This guy would go out and throw like 20 interceptions and then try to blame the Bengals. And I'm like, look, dude, you threw 20 interceptions. But I think that's the difference between him and Joe Burrow. Carson's kind of a LA guy, California guy, kind of, entitled. Joe Burrow grew up in Athens, Ohio. He doesn't care if he has to come and play without a practice facility. He only cares about football. And I think that's the difference between him and Carson.
Man, Caleb Williams don't need to go to USC.
And Carson quit on 2 organizations, by the way, and a lot of people let him get away with it. He quit on the Bengals, then he went to Oakland. He quit on Oakland too. A lot of people forget that part. And then he went to Arizona.
Yeah, because Hugh got fired because of that, right? Because he went 8.
Yes, Hugh went out on a limb to bring in Carson Palmer just for Carson Palmer to quit on him. So,
and then he tried to do it again with what's his name, the backup y'all had from Alabama.
Oh, AJ McCarron. Ooh,
he tried to do it with AJ McCarron.
Somebody messed up that paperwork on purpose.
He got somebody else fired.
All right. Tom here with a $5 super chat says the Chiefs game was a roller coaster. When we were down 21-3, tell the truth. Did you really think we would come back? Love AFC North talk. You guys are the best.
Nah, I thought it was over. I saw that. I saw they were down 19, and I was like, man, that's a steep mountain to climb. That is I didn't think that they were going to be able to come because I thought they wouldn't stop scoring, right? The way that they looked in the first quarter, it's like, man, I think the Bengals can put up points, but can they stop them? Like the amount of times you need to stop them? Because I know how it feels when I play the Chiefs, when the Browns play the Chiefs, and Tony, I reckon it feels the same. It feels like every punt or every stop or every field goal comes at a premium. You have to work really hard for that.
Little mini Lombardi you get for just getting
the Bengals out there just churning out these punts in the second half. Interceptions. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah. Ace, how are you feeling at halftime?
I was still okay because usually when I watch Bengals games and it's still a 2-score lead or something like that, just with how early it was, I was like, this isn't over. Now I did make the mistake and think originally that we were going to get the ball at halftime, and then I remembered that we weren't, or somebody corrected me that we weren't, and I was like, all right, well, they just have to at least best case scenario hold them to a field goal, and then when they got no points, I was like, oh, this is far from over. So for me, I didn't think of it like that. If it would have been, if they would have scored that last touchdown, I think that's when I said, okay, then it would have been over, before halftime. But no, I didn't think it was over because from week 17, they had a very similar start in that. And then with how explosive that this offense is, Jamar Chase, as you guys know, you throw one deep ball and it could end up being 6. And so I still was fairly confident. I was upset with Lou in the defense for just allowing them to just sit back in that zone. But no, I didn't think that it was over. It was over at all.
Diddy here with a $5 super chat said, anybody still mad at Palmer, Hill, etc.? Get over it. We're in the Super Bowl. They never made it. Hill didn't play. He was on IR. He got a participation trophy.
Yeah, definitely not upset with Jeremy Hill at all.
Jeremy Hill,
Carson Palmer. I mean, like if Carson Palmer didn't if he wasn't out there telling Joe Burrow not to play for the Bengals and still like making excuses for why, Joe Burrow won't make the Super Bowl and now he's there. Carson is eating a lot of crow. I still have some issues with Carson. Like, look, we're Bengals fans. We know what they have to deal with. We're not going to hold that against Corey Dillon or something like that. But even Corey Dillon didn't do the stuff that he's doing. Like Corey Dillon now won't say bad stuff about the Bengals or anything like that. Like Carson is still keeping this vendetta that he has with our owner. Anytime they bring him on any kind of interview, he's just waiting for his opportunity to trash him. So Jeremy Hill has a pass. Carson, I don't think he's ever going to be welcome back in Cincinnati, dog.
All right, we got Professor Chaos here. I don't live in Cleveland, but is it really that bad, or is it just Manziel and Odell?
What does he mean?
Manziel.
I mean, I would guess I'm guessing that the question is more about is it that bad, or is it just that they get these these bad personalities, I guess, in Cleveland?
No, the problem with the Browns this year was quarterback play.
Yeah,
plain and simple. They get a better quarterback or get better quarterback play. If let's say live in a hypothetical world, right, where anything's possible. If Baker comes out and plays like Joe Burrow next year, or even just like he did in 2020, the Browns probably going to win like 10, 11 games, probably make the playoffs, probably look really good. And the play calling is going to be fine and everything else is going to be fine. If we get quarterback play like we did this year, we're going to stink again. It's just that was the issue. The issue with Odell, quarterback play. The issue with Johnny Manziel, he sucked at quarterback. Yeah. That's the reality of it, right? If you don't get good enough quarterback play, your holes are going to be exposed. That is how it works, dog. Especially in the AFC North, where say what you want about Lamar. I know Joe Burrow's the man of the hour right now, and he deserves to be. But also, Lamar's a guy. Like, you got two of them in there. Who knows what Pittsburgh's going to do? But, they get lucky all the time. So I'm just going to assume they can get something fortunate happen their way. What's your answer, right? And that was my whole point with the whole Baker thing, right? Do you feel good about Baker Mayfield against Joe Burrow in the playoffs? Do you feel good about Baker Mayfield versus Lamar Jackson in the playoffs? Do you feel good about Baker Mayfield versus Justin Herbert in the playoffs? Do you feel good about Baker Mayfield versus anybody like past Ryan Tannehill? And even then,
Josh Allen,
like Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean? Like, do you feel good about that? If the answer is no, then you got to do something to keep yourself up in that race, because if you can't compete in that area, we saw the 49ers trying to get away with their quarterback thing as long as they could. And then it bit them in the ass, in that final 2-minute drive. You cannot avoid mediocre quarterback play. You just can't avoid it. It's going to come and get you at some point. Unless you are the 2000 Ravens and you got the best defense ever. Yeah, dog. You know what I mean? And you got Jamal Lewis. Like, yeah, man. Like, that's the only way.
But King Fart with a $2 super chat says, need to retain Larry and BJ. JC Jackson possible.
Wow.
JC Jackson. I mean, I think
are they in the market for a corner?
Yeah, we are in the market for a corner.
I mean, there's so many good corners.
Trey Waynes. So like what's gonna happen is they're gonna cut Trey Waynes. They're gonna get $12 million in like cap space from that. So they're gonna be in the market for a corner. Traditionally, though, up until recently with Cheeto and Mike Hilton, they usually have gone and drafted one, but they could be in the market for a corner for sure. Corner, I think, in offensive lineman, obviously, like some interior guard or maybe even a tackle. But corner is definitely up there as far as what they need.
Well, this is a great draft for a corner.
Because we have a ton of corners, but they're all on like 1 year deals.
With like the 32nd pick or something.
Oh, if we get Sauce, yeah,
Sauce won't last that long. Although, I've heard people say like he may.
Now people are starting to do that whole like he only played at Cincinnati thing, and I'm like, I know good when I see it. Look, I saw.
No, I think it's his frame. People don't think his frame can hold up.
Nah, man.
People just start talking themselves. No,
Nick Saban played a whole game where he was like, I refuse to talk. I will target the other two All-Americans on their defense. I am not throwing the ball to Sauce Gardner. Yeah. Like, dude, that tells me everything I need to know about a dude. Like, if Nick Saban's going to purposely avoid you, yeah, man.
Yeah. I like Sauce. This is a great corner. It's a great with a capital G. Great corner class. So you really can't go wrong.
I mean, the Senior Bowl this year. I mean, them one-on-one wide receiver cornerback drills. Like even the guys who are gonna be at that level, oh boy, turn the tape on.
Yep.
I'm just so glad that I'm not into draft season because of the.
Join us.
They talk themselves out of. I mean, like Devonta Smith last year. It's like, his frame, he's not gonna hold it. I'm like, it's Devonta Smith. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Like when you have to talk yourself out of stuff just from things like that, it's just like just draft based off of the talent.
It was like
just
the whole JFK thing. He's too small, but it's but he's really good at football. Like I'm pretty sure
he can
Ray Lewis, right?
Not be good at football.
It was like Ray Lewis when he came out in '96. Right. By the way, who did they draft in '96? Who's the best pick that they had in '96 for the Ravens? Sonny's not.
Ravens, they had some good drafts back then.
I know, but their best pick in '96, Tony Banks. Almost a Super Bowl quarterback.
Tony Banks, he was Super Bowl. He was Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champion. They got their guy.
They got their dude.
They got Ronnie's. They got They got Jonathan Ogden. They got Ray Lewis. They got Tony Banks in that draft. You know what I mean? Let's go.
But hey, if they don't want to draft Sauce because of his frame, we will take him in Cincinnati.
His frame.
All right.
NFL, he gonna eat, dog. He gonna get bigger.
It's either chef or chief. Can't tell based on the spelling here, but either way. Anyway, $2 super chat. Carmen on that P Ryan screen tutty. Lord.
Yeah, Jackson Carmen in the run game is very violent, and I like him in space when he does that. But yeah, and shout out to Samaje Perine because he was catching a lot of flack from that drop earlier, I think on third down, and then obviously he had the one that was tipped up for the interception. And I did not expect him to score a touchdown on that one. Everybody was like, "Where's Chris Evans at?" And then Samaje Perine was like, "Hold my beer."
It's look, obviously I have been very wrong about this Bengals team, and my big take was like, look, they're not going to sustain this kind of big play thing all year long, especially the way that they were getting those big plays down the sideline to guys like Chase and Higgins and whatnot, right? That's just unsustainable the way they were winning 50-50 balls. And instead, the Bengals have told me like, hey, okay, fine. How about instead of getting 50-50 balls down the sideline, we just do a Jamar Chase wide receiver screen touchdown against Titans. And then this week was the ultimate. Like when that play went in, I just kind of had to smirk and like, okay. Of all people, it's going to be a Samaje Perine screen pass 45-yard touchdown.
By the way, how did that Oklahoma team not make it to the national championship that year? They have all of the good players in the AFC North on that team.
That is the cool part is like Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon being
Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. Goodness gracious, you know what I mean?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, he was good in college. You know what I mean? Like, how did they?
By the way, the Bengals, I figured it. I figured out the Bengals. I figured out why I was so incredibly wrong on the Bengals this year. The Bengals are 1,000% the anti-analytics team this year. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They are the anti-conventional wisdom, anti-analytics. I mean, you don't look at any analytical system that tries to measure teams like by kind of the traditional way we measure teams. All of them have the Bengals as like they were underdogs to almost every team they played throughout this run. I mean, not the Raiders, but they were underdogs to the Titans. They were heavy underdogs. Football Outsiders had them, I believe, as a 70% chance the Chiefs to win that game. 538 had like 85% chance.
85%.
For the Chiefs, right? But you look at it and just look at the numbers. Look at what happened in this game. We talk about you can't kick field goals against Patrick Mahomes, right? Bad red zone play. Sonny always talked about it throughout the whole postseason. He said, look, this whole they don't score in the red zone thing, like that's going to catch up with them, and especially against Patrick Mahomes. No, they were 1 of 3. I know they were 1 of 4, but really 1 of 3 in this game because the last one was the game winner. 1 of 3 in the red zone in this game. No, it didn't matter. They won the game anyway, right? And then the offense. I mean, we talk about the Titans game, right? You take 9 sacks in a football game. I mean, come on, you can't win when you take 9 sacks. No, they're the anti-analytics team, 100%. You just can't it. And that's and by the way, it's not a diss. This is a credit.
No, you're right. Because Football Outsiders, that DVOA thing, they have not had us near the top this entire season.
I don't even think they're in the top 10 yet. Even factoring in that they just beat the Chiefs. I don't think they're.
We were in the 20s or something, and I was like, "What is going on? Who is running this?"
It's incredible because it is a testament to what they're doing this year that they are like the outlier of all outliers. And what makes this team so special is that you keep saying like, all right, well, it's going to catch up with them at some point, right? I mean, I have my old phrase that gets used against me every week now on Twitter.
First it was
they're going to turn into a pumpkin at some point.
Then, Joe Burrow catches on fire, dude. Eventually, he has to come back down a little bit. On. Oh no, he just got hotter. All right. I don't know.
I mean, like in this game,
like
in just look at this game, right? You're like, okay, what if I told you that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't going to have any of their 50-50 balls down the sideline in this game, right? There's going to be no deep balls. Burrow's not hitting a single deep ball.
Uzomah gets hurt early.
And Uzomah gets hurt.
Yeah, and Uzomah's out early. Okay, they're down 21
down 19.
And then how about this? The last two possessions, okay, the last possession of the game, Mahomes have the ball at the 5-yard line, okay, with three chances to win the game on the spot, okay, and then they're going to win, and then the Chiefs are going to win the coin toss and have the ball first in overtime too, and the Bengals are still going to win after all that. I mean, my goodness, that's what I'm saying. Like when people are going to start asking about the Rams here in some of these super chats, I turned to my wife last night and I said, look, conventional wisdom would tell you that after what I saw in the Titans game, the Rams defensive line is a horrific matchup for the Bengals. They're probably going to destroy that offensive line, and it's not going to matter. The Bengals are going to win. So that's how the Super Bowl is going to play out. Like, just get ready for that right now.
Conventional draft wisdom. It started with taking Chase over Panay.
That's right. Exactly.
Nothing they did made any sense from any of that analytical perspective, but it works, dog.
It's exactly. It's like they're the outlier of all outliers.
Joe Burrow wanted Chase, so you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and it worked out.
And you can't win. You can't listen. What's the point of having a great quarterback if you don't? This is what Steelers fans tell me all the time. What's the point of having a great quarterback if you don't have a great offensive line?
No. Remember the thinking was they're not going to be able to get the ball to Jamar Chase because their line will not hold up. Yeah, they found a way, dog. They found a way.
There is no metric for the heart of a champion. That is
everything negative that I said about the Bengals. I felt like I had a pretty strong basis of coming from a negative position from. It's just that they just were right.
Exactly. They just continue to find ways, man. It really is something else. I mean, again, their ability to continue to create big plays.
With all summer, they were like, "Well, we got Joe Burrow," and I was like, "What does that mean?" You guys, now I know because look, you can say the matchup's not great against the Rams. There is no doubt that I think of who I think is going to win this game, but it's the team that employs a certain guy that wears number 9. That's not a former Detroit native, Detroit guy.
All right, let's keep going here on super chats. Ira, $2 super chat says, "Why is the first half defense Swiss cheese and the second a wall?" Kind of touched on this a little earlier.
I don't know. I had a conspiracy theory. I don't know if it was a rope-a-dope technique or what, but I'm literally like looking at Lou like, what are you doing? Like, he's just letting Kelsey and Tyreek Hill run free, and then they keep panning to him, and he's just acting calm. And I'm like, bro, what is going on? This is insane.
Once they score 21 points, it's over.
Lou does have a knack for doing like unconventional and like crazy things in games, but I don't know if that was it, but it was just like that stuff was just too easy the way that they were like getting it. And like the first game, we kind of shut Kelsey and Tyreek Hill down, so it was kind of like weird to me that they were just so open. Like obviously they're great players, but it was just kind of insane.
Well, Zach Taylor went in there, outcoached.
I'll coach Andy Reid for sure. I'll coach Andy Reid for sure.
And look, we had to coach.
Actually, I know we haven't done the preview show yet, but the biggest thing that no one is taking into account is he literally knows that entire offense.
Wow. This is the first Sean McVay versus one of his extremely young disciple Super Bowls.
Well, but Shanahan is kind of where McVay came from, right? So it was like
they're all under 40.
No, I know. Every young coach in the league. By the way, remember whenever we used to make fun of the idea of like, oh, if you even talk to McVay, you get a job. I mean, all those guys went in and are like, those guys are great.
If you are under 40 and you run that zone option offense, like what I mean, the play action heavy, that is the wave right now. Like that's gonna get you higher. Eric Bieniemy, you need to come in there and be like, look, we go run play action, and then he'll get a job right then because that's just what they're looking for. Because there's like 8 dudes in the NFL. LaFleur does the same stuff. McVay, whoever they hire in Minnesota, well, unless it's I hope
Is it gonna be Harbaugh? Isn't the latest rumor Harbaugh?
Yeah,
I
there was
heard
some
that over
Harbaugh
the
stuff, but then
weekend.
Harbaugh to the Dolphins is there's more smoke there, but who knows?
I mean, wherever he's going to end up, it's going to be hilarious.
Who knows? All right,
Maybe.
here, Victor with a $5 super chat says Bengals fans since '68. Bengals on the last two games, AFC North style defense, run regardless, and let the other team make mistakes.
That the inception of the Bengals in '68.
We're a finesse team. Remember, I think the Titans called the Bengals a finesse team playing in the AFC North. We play so much finesse football over here, right, guys?
I know Romo was on this. Yes, 68. Yeah, they were established in 67. So
yeah,
the first season was 68.
Yeah, it was around because Paul Brown got fired. It's when Art Modell bought the Browns is when that whole thing started to fall apart with him and Paul Brown. And that's how he ended up down there.
I hated the Bengals gameplay in this game offensively. I kept saying through the whole game, like, man, the Bengals are going to lose this game because they refused to freaking throw the ball on first down. Like, just throw the ball on first, because the Chiefs very clearly they were running cover one on first down and they were playing run the entire game. And like, I think there was like 9 out of 10 runs in the second half. It was like, there were 9 out of 10 first down, that were runs in the second half. Driving me up a freaking wall watching.
That is what Zach Taylor does.
No, those first two drives too, they were like identical, where it was like a run, a screen, and then a run.
They were so happy to live in, like, I'm like, what about third and 7 and third and 6 is so exciting to Zach Taylor? I mean, did he have a prop bet of like how many 3rd and 7s can we be in this game? Because holy cow, they just were like, yeah, whatever, we're gonna live in 3rd and 6, we're gonna live in 3rd and 7, we're just gonna make this work. They did. They were 8 of 14 on third down.
A lot of people get upset with that. I think sometimes he tries to stick with it to try to keep the play action effective, but it pisses a lot of people off. They're just like, why are we just running on every first down?
You know who hated it a lot? It was the whole analytics crew, and I was right along with them. And of course, we were all like we've been all year, taking out. All right, 1-1 blue here. Bengals 7-0 versus AFC playoff teams, 0-2 versus NFC.
Well, we'll have to see.
And I think he's gonna. I think we have another super chat coming in with what
third time's a charm.
Yeah, he's got another. I'll just read his second super chat here because he sent another one that said the Rams is another $2 super chat from 1-1 blue. He says the Rams are 5-4 versus NFC playoff teams and 0-1 versus AFC teams. They played the Titans earlier this year.
They lost to the Titans.
A lot of people lost to the Titans, bro.
Everyone lost to the Titans.
And it was crazy because when they were talking trash to us, they were like, you guys scored 19 points. And then, of course, I was like, oh, you guys played the Titans. How many points did you? Oh, 3 points. Oh, 3 points. And as soon as I said that, they never brought the Titans up again.
Yep. All right. Nova Stone 12, $2 super chat says, could be Super Bowl 50 or 55 D-line taking over games. Yeah, Super Bowl 50 was that defensive struggle, yeah. And 55 was last year's.
Any of the ones that Brady lost, that's usually the storyline, is the defensive line dominated.
Yeah. That Eagles game. Well, the Eagles game was a shootout, man. I mean, my goodness. Fucking Foles, of all people. All right, Tristan here, $5 super chat. If the Bengals stack their O-line this offseason and the Steelers get Rodgers, I might actually die inside. Also, I think Jarvis is going to get cut. It's a Bengals fan there. No, I don't think you have to worry much about the Steelers getting Rodgers. I think the Rodgers sweepstakes is likely going to be Denver, although we'll see. I just think that they're going to want too many first-round picks for Rodgers if the Steelers are going to balk.
Oh, so they do have to trade him.
They have to trade him
because they got him for one more. Oh yeah, that is.
The Steelers I think would do it for 2, but I think it's going to go above 2. And once you go above 2, come on, get mad. Eric here, $2 super chat. Taylor has the inside track on McVay. Bengals win.
I think that was. Isn't there some kind of storyline about that with like John Gruden and Callahan and like that Raiders? Didn't he know like everything? Didn't Gruden know like everything?
Gruden was the coach of the Raiders the year prior.
Yeah, and so he literally knew all of their offense.
They were
crazy.
Yeah, Derek Brooks and John Lynch tell that story that we had to talk about. Like, it was crazy. Like, they were literally, we knew every play that they were going to run. Like, we just we tell from the formation, like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, that was Bill Callahan, right?
Yeah, Callahan.
Yeah, he took over, and then Gruden. They were like, yeah, man, we knew every single one. Yeah, Zach Taylor is 38, and then Sean McVay is 36, younger than him.
If McVay wins, he'll be the youngest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl.
Dude, I think whoever wins.
Zach Taylor wins. Ooh,
was Zach Taylor's older.
Zach Taylor's 37. Yeah,
Zach Taylor's 38.
And would it be the record?
Nah,
what's the record?
Tomlin is the record at 36. 36 and
Tomlin's was super young when he got his.
Tomlin was super young.
If you add both these dudes up, I'm pretty sure they're younger than the soul of Bill Belichick.
No, Tomlin was really McVay before McVay. Nobody's talking about it like that though.
Yep.
It's cool ass shades. I remember I was like, man, Mike Tomlin's cool, but he coaches.
He's a cool dude.
So.
Great
now
coach.
he's kind of corny. He's aged up, like he's older now. It's like,
he's at that corny stage. Listen, we all get. You're all getting
that stuff. You're like, oh, you've aged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he did the dance, I was like, oh, Tomlin.
You know what I mean? Like he's a little older now, but back with Mike Tomlin, like mid 2000s, Mike Tomlin, that was the coolest dude on football. The aviators all blacked out. You know, it's like, but he's been having the same outfit on for like the last 20 years, so it hits different now.
Nova Stone here with a $2 super chat says, "Well, the Ravens fans rooting for Weddle to win the Super Bowl. We Ravens fans are rooting for Weddle to win the Super Bowl." Okay,
I'm pretty sure the Ravens would not be rooting for the Bengals in the Super Bowl with how things have played out this season.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens fans are real salty. Like, they're the most salty about this whole thing because at least the Steelers made the playoffs, right? At least
we got stuff by the Bengals. I mean, I don't want this. I don't want this.
I know, but at least y'all made the playoffs, so y'all got some solace out this season. Last year, Ben, you got some positive out of it.
Oh yeah.
The Browns have had nothing good to talk about, but you know what? We swept the Bengals, so it's not like it don't hurt that much. But the Ravens got swept. And they got walked both times.
They did get absolutely trounced.
Both games after it. Talk the most reckless garbage.
They are still talking reckless, and I'm just like, all right, okay.
Like, it's gonna be a long summer for them.
Joe Burrow was that dude.
Yeezy for POTUS here with a $2 super chat.
I can still sit here with my hurt pride and be like, well, Joe Burrow ain't never beat the Browns. They can't say that.
Easy for POTUS here with a $2 super chat says, "I don't care if I'm a Browns fan. I want the Bengals to win." Okay, there we go. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys I got in a ton of trouble. I went on Locked On Steelers, said the same thing I said here, which is like, how can you as a Steeler fan cheer for the Bengals? I got you would not believe the amount of hate that I got from saying that on a Steeler on Locked On Steelers, Locked Steelers podcast. Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
Steelers like
Cody, why are you gatekeeping fandom? We can cheer for whoever we want. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You can. I'm not saying you can't. But like that's weird to me. It's weird to cheer for your rival.
Steelers fans like to do this thing to where like they've been beating your ass for like the last 25 years. So then you finally get some success and like I always knew you could do it. Shut up, Steelers.
Well, there is. I had this with the Browns. I did have this. You know, part of me did start feeling bad for the Browns, and that's when they got Baker, I was like, oh, this will be cute. I always said like I wanted it to be a rivalry again. Then when it got to be a rivalry, like last year, I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah. When the Browns won that game,
exactly. I don't like this. No.
Because I ain't never seen Ben cry 2 times after beating the Browns each time. Like that shit meant something to him.
Yeah. No. I'm out. Flight Team says a $2 super chat says, "Remember how arrogant you guys used to be? #WhoDay." Listen, we have actually, I think Ace put together a whole video of how arrogant specifically I was. So it's documented.
Cinderella.
Pumpkin.
Is it happening still?
And by the way, I just, Pumpkin Watch, we're getting down to the end. I mean, listen, but there still is time. They'll
lose the first game on Thursday because they won the Super Bowl. And then
No. It's this team. I said this team. I said this team will actually turn into a pumpkin.
The pumpkin is gone.
I'll give it up if they win the Super Bowl. I'll give it up.
With the glass slipper on. Like.
But like, we're getting close here. We're getting close.
I mean, who's really the pumpkin here because he's going up against Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Well, there will be a pumpkin in that game. There will be a pumpkin in that game. Russ here, the $2 super chat. Tooney chose the wrong team. Ooh, I like that take.
Joe Tooney. I love that one. I love that one as well.
Boy, what happened to the Ravens dude? Orlando
Brown.
Yeah,
Orlando Brown. Yeah.
Duke.
I saw someone say I don't want to give credit. I wish I could give credit.
Was he the one that was on Hendrickson?
Yes, and they said Henderson's going to be a real bad matchup for him.
That was
Hendrickson ate him alive, bro. Like that one play, like a lot of people were like, "Why did Mahomes like throw it like that?" It's because Hendrickson was like in his face. Yeah, it was insane.
They traded a lot for him too. And Baltimore found a way because I was always like with Zeus, well, baby Zeus. It's like, man, them feet are slow for a tackle. No way he could play on the left side. They made it work with him out there in Baltimore. But then they put him in those empty sets out there in Kansas City. He got them slow ass feet. You could just get to the edge on them.
Yeah. All right. We got, easy for POTUS. $2 super chat. AC wants to see heel Ace come out. He says, you got to talk more blank than this.
You gotta win the Super Bowl. There's still one more game left, man.
I'm ready for heel Ace. Let's go. Russ ENT with a $2 super chat says, imagine not making the Pro Bowl number 9.
Hey,
yes, that was hilarious.
Real talk. Making the Pro Bowl in the AFC is a completely different thing than making it in the NFC. But because the NFC Pro Bowl, Derek Carr has made the Pro Bowl like 3 times.
Yeah, real talk. The Pro Bowl sucks. No one should care.
Andy Dalton made it. There's like a whole I don't know.
Ben's gonna make it this year.
Well, think about all the quarterbacks that there's 3 spots right for the Pro Bowl, right? There's going to be one guy in the Super Bowl every year. I mean, it don't matter because Joe Burrow's in the Super Bowl. He's not playing in the Pro Bowl.
Correct.
But it's like what you go. It's Patrick Mahomes.
It's probably going to be like Mac Jones or something. I don't know.
Mac Jones has no.
Give it to Ben. Give it to Ben.
And I'm a Mac Jones guy, but it's going to be what. Patrick Mahomes, and then probably Justin Herbert.
Mahomes is going to play.
Oh, no, Josh Allen. Josh Allen
said, no, Josh Allen already dropped out.
Oh, okay, so damn, they might get down to Baker Mayfield.
It's between Baker
I will say this, and Tony, you probably know this feeling. It does feel good to not even care. What Pro Bowl? We don't even have to play in it. What's that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Pro Bowl say like, damn, I can't play in the Pro Bowl in Vegas this weekend. Shoot.
Oh, they have it in Vegas now? I know it used to be in Orlando. So
no, it's Vegas. They move it around every once in a while.
They need to just get rid of the game and just do like 40-yard dash races and stuff like that.
Ace, have you ever gone when it was here in Orlando? Have you ever gone to the Pro Bowl when it was here?
I didn't go to
it. You made the right choice. Yeah, I went the year it rained. It was a awful game. Awful game. Oh my God. I mean, not worth it at all. Not worth it.
I would rather go to that thing where they play dodgeball and softball.
Yeah, just do like a skill challenge.
I would spend money to go to. Yeah. I'm not about to actually watch the game. What good is that?
Oh, I like a super chat we got coming up, but we got to get to this one first. A $10 super chat. Really appreciate that from Bruce, who says, "Is the Rams pass rush going to be a huge issue for us?"
I mean, anybody's pass rush is going to be an issue. The real question is the Bengals pass rush going to be an issue for them? Because it's going to go both ways.
I like that heat.
I mean, Aaron Donald is an issue for anybody. It's Aaron Donald. I mean, like Von Miller, Leonard Floyd as well over there, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, let them know, Ace. Look, talk your mess, man. It's one thing to get that pass rush there. It's another thing to actually tackle Joe Burrow. Oof, let them know.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
It's like it was. People forget how slippery Ben Roethlisberger used to be, but he was like the most slippery dude
I don't. Yeah. I remember exactly.
My dreams. Like
Ben has had plenty of tackles for sure.
Till this day, I can see old Ben run out there, but every time I see a defensive tackle chase Ben Roethlisberger, I already know what's up. It's gonna be that damn crossing route to Antonio Brown, deep third of the field, right on the pylon. How did he make that throw? And Joe Burrow was doing some stuff that was just incredible when it comes to
escape pressure, kept his eyes downfield. You know, he was able to run for how many first downs did he run for on third down after escaping pressure in the second half? At least two.
At least two.
So poised. He's gonna make Madden make that like a stat. Like we
tried to tell them that. We're like, just because you get into the backfield does not mean that you're gonna get him.
Yeah,
because you know how people talk about, the offensive line, a bad offensive line could ruin a young quarterback. Ain't nothing you could throw. Joe Burrow's one of them cases where like he could have gone anywhere and been this good because there's nothing that shakes him mentally. Like he's
one thing I will say, and not to say you don't need to get Joe Burrow a line. His line at LSU when they won the championship was not really good, and a lot of people don't talk about that part. But it was not a good offensive line that he won that championship with.
Yeah,
he made it happen, man.
It wasn't as bad as this line, but it was not like top tier line.
He was doing that stuff that he did in college in the NFL and the AFC championship game. That man, what else?
Yeah,
what else? That's what he did against Alabama. That I was like, oh, this is definitely the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And he just did it in the NFL.
I still remember
NFL,
the days
Alabama.
when it was like draft Chase Young and keep Andy Dalton over Joe
That's
Burrow.
a wild argument.
You remember that?
I remember it. We need to be elite on defense. You know what I mean? We don't need a quarterback.
All those Ohio State fans. And then when he had that game in the playoffs where he threw like 7 touchdowns, it was just over. They were like,
no, but that playoff run was insane. He had like a whole season's worth of stats in 2 games. If you add the SEC championship game, he had like 3,000 yards.
Yeah,
insane.
He was insane.
And he's doing it again in the NFL.
It's crazy.
Eric here, $5 super chat says, every player hugged Larry when they got off the bus last night. This team loves each other, even the injured ones. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it is, man. He must be talking about Larry Ogunjobi. He came into like the locker room and some stuff. But yeah, this team definitely loves each other for sure. They're a tight-knit group.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Larry Ogunjobi, man. He's a locker room favorite.
Crazy Mad, $5 super chat says, let's not forget about our coaching staff. The second half adjustments have been top notch. The coaching has been levels above the Marvin years.
Oh, wait, easily better. Like we're like one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. The second half adjustments, which Marvin Lewis, by the way, said didn't exist. He said that those were fake. But yeah, definitely got to give kudos to this coaching staff. Offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, some of the stuff that he's done over there. Obviously, they've still allowed Joe Burrow to get hit, but it's still better than Jim Turner. And then defensive line coach, Marion Hobby, doesn't get enough credit at all. And then Troy Walters, who, short story here, hopped into my DM when I came out with the Playoff Migos shirt before the game and told me that wait until we go to the Super Bowl. And I was like, wait, hold on. This staff feels like they're going to the Super Bowl? Yeah. And I didn't say anything until it was actually going to happen, but I couldn't believe that they had that much confidence to say, wow, wait until we go to the Super Bowl.
Crazy. All right. Kyle here, $5 Canadian super chat. Love this one. He says, I listened to Tony and put my money on the Bengals just before the playoffs to win the AFC at 11-1. Let's go, Kyle.
I made some change. Off of that too. I picked them before the AFC Championship. Made me some nice futures money.
Yeah,
trying to get a down payment on one of those Super Bowl tickets.
There you go. Yeah, they are not cheap this year. Yeah, I had a pretty good day on the Bengals game for sure. I had the longest completion. Those both went over. Burrow over 8.5. Easy W. The one that got me was no team to score 3 times in a row. Mm-hmm. The Bengals had 3 in a row there, and it was stupid Chiefs at the end of the first half. They would have just scored. I would have won that one too, but yeah. Overall, yeah, good weekend. 1-1 Blue, $10 super chat. Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Hendrickson, Reeder, Mixon, Hubbard, Awuzie, Logan, McPherson, all signed through 2024 to 2026, and we have the 3rd most cap room for next season at $58 million. Tobin underrated.
I had to warn y'all. I tried
to warn when y'all. LeBron made it to the finals in 2007 and everybody was like, oh my God, LeBron's going to be as good as everybody thought he was going to be. And then everybody panicked and made a bunch of moves. I'm going to need the Browns to pull a Celtics here and just get like 3 franchise quarterbacks and just trade for them. We're going to put them out on the field somewhere because I'm not trying to live with the Bengals being this good. And we out here like, yeah, but we got Baker Mayfield to throw at them. Like that ain't gonna hold up for much longer, man.
I had to hit the Deshaun Watson button. I'm just saying.
You don't have to do something because I don't think the Ravens are gonna go away. I don't know what Pittsburgh is gonna do. I'm hoping they're gonna.
Pittsburgh is the wild card. Like I'm curious to see like where they're.
Yeah, I never put that one in the dirt until I know for a fact. Until they go 4-12.
They've got a bunch of talent. They got a bunch of talent over there that's still young, and somebody could just come in immediately, and they would be right back.
And they're
the scary one. Yeah, and the Browns are too. Both of you guys are in similar situations where if like a elite quarterback steps in there, you're immediately going to be like a Super Bowl threat.
Yeah.
Who wants to step into this division?
Yeah, that's true. In this conference, who wants to step into this? Yeah, exactly. All right. we're almost back to being able to put the super chats on the screen. Bruce here, $5 super chat says, Ace, do you think the pick your poison analogy also applies for the Bengals in regards to Beckham and Cooper Kupp?
Not necessarily, because with those guys, generally you're gonna have to deal with guys that have two good receivers. Really, it's about how good is your third receiver. I think Cooper Kupp obviously is an elite guy. OBJ is an elite guy. I guess what you're saying is you can't double team either one of them. So if I think about it that way, technically yes, but I think with Cooper Kupp, since he plays in the slot, it's a little bit different. I think if you have two outside receivers, it's a little bit different. With him being in the slot, they're probably going to have Mike Hilton on him. But I think those are two guys that you can key in on. Like if the other guys, and this kind of happened with the Chiefs too, right? Like you got Kelsey and Hill. Those other guys are just going to have to beat me. That's the way that I'm thinking about it. Like if we can just slow those two guys down, that's how you have to kind of think about it. If anybody else on the Rams beats you outside of those two guys, you can let them have that all day. As long as those two guys aren't the guys that beat you, because you definitely don't want OBJ and Cooper Kupp going off on you for sure.
Diddy here, $2 super chat says, other than my kids being born, best night ever.
For sure. I just started a new job. I wish I had PTO. I did not have PTO, so I had to go to work today.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Public Schools apparently let all the kids out for had a day off today.
And they need to do it the day after. The day after the Super Bowl.
Day after as well, yeah.
That game goes long.
We are all screwed as men because that is like Valentine's Day. Monday.
Oh.
Well, I mean, y'all married.
Just a heads up. Guys. It is Valentine's Day on Monday.
I appreciate you.
And on Super Bowl Sunday. Like that's Valentine's Day weekend. That's kind of
we gonna get flowers at the parade, baby.
People. Christian here, $5 super chat says, do you think Joe Thuney is regretting that $80 million contract now?
I mean, I don't think he's regretting.
No, he's playing with the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes. Like they're gonna be there. Like they're gonna be back again in the same position probably next year, possibly. Well, I'm not gonna say that because you got the Bills, you got all these other teams, but they'll be right back next year.
And he making $80 million.
Yeah. I don't think that's an L.
I think he's like, you know what, man? I'll be all right.
Blue Libra here, $5 super chat says, I'm hyped to see a Super Bowl win, but I can't wait for O-line upgrades next season to open up routes for Mixon and Burrow. Explosive potential there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Bengals are going to look like with a good offensive line. That's
give Burrow some time back there. That's what teams need to do.
Give Jamar Chase an extra 2 seconds to get open. Yeah, that's gonna.
Yeah, cool. Cool. All right, we can finally put the super chats back up on the screen here. Hey. Philly Funk, $2 super chat says Rams don't even get to use their locker room. They're the away team in this Super Bowl.
Wasn't that how Brady was last year? Though he was an away team technically.
Yep. Yep. They don't get to use their own locker room. And they use that. See, they're going to, it's extra motivation. I love it. And you know that they actually will use that as extra motivation, as stupid as it is.
Look, this is where I could tell.
I don't know. That seems kind of weird. How do you know it's not like tapped? Like I wouldn't feel comfortable using the actual home team's locker room. I'd rather use the away locker room. That's kind of weird.
Makes them clear it out or something like that. Like the league handles all this stuff. But this is I could tell that Tony is a Bill Cowher disciple at heart. I know he spent a lot of years covering the Steelers under Mike Tomlin, but he's a Bill Cowher disciple at heart because this is the kind of Bill Cowher shit that Bill Cowher would do to hype his team up. Do you remember how he hyped up the Steelers when the Browns came back for the first game in 5 years on Monday Night Football, Tony?
I don't remember.
Oh, he was like, hey, he went to Dwight Clark and whoever was running the Browns was like, hey, man, it's your first game back in 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I want you guys to enjoy it. Don't even worry about the Steelers coming out the tunnel. We'll come out by ourselves. I want you guys to this is about the city of Cleveland. This is about your moment. Just soak it in. Have Drew Carey out there, everything else, right? So they get the green light to skip the intro so they get the extra 5 minutes. And then he runs out there with his team and he tells his team, they didn't even let you run out the tunnel. They're disrespecting you. They hate you. And then they beat the shit out of us. So, Bill Cowher at heart is where Tony.
I wonder what they said to Bill Cowher after that game because I saw a bunch of Bengals players go over to him. I don't think he picked us for that game.
No, he did not. He did not.
Of course he did. He's Bill Cowher. He is a Cleveland native who he was on the Browns coaching staff, and then he was a Steelers guy. There is no Bengals love in that man's heart.
Nope. All right. Luis here, $5 super chat says, hey, Ace, can we talk about the play that Hubbard made on 3rd and goal to force the game-tying field goal? What a play. Hashtag Houday. It is us.
That was an insane play by Sam Hubbard. And I think, I don't know if that was the same one where he dropped back and then he came. I think he did drop back and then he ran.
It was the one where he Mahomes has been.
Sam Hubbard played his butt off in that game. He always has a chip on his shoulder because everybody's like, oh, he's a good run stopper, but he can't get pressure. And he got pressure in this game. So shout out to Sam Hubbard, especially with him being a Cincinnati kid.
Misfit Culture TV, $5 super chat. Bengal Jim said they turned the scoreboard off after McPherson made the game-winning field goal. Talk about being a sore
They have enough fireworks.
Yeah, listen. The fireworks jokes were coming. Yeah, listen. I'm sure that they were queuing it up.
Boy, they say no fireworks for nothing, huh, man? I don't know, Ace. Did they shoot any fireworks off while the Bengals were hosting up that Lamar Hunt trophy?
Doubt it.
That's crazy, too. You got to host up the Lamar Hunt trophy in Kansas City in front of all-day fans. That's just extra juice.
And Bengals, there were a lot of Bengals fans there.
There were a lot of Bengals fans.
No. They travel. They understand what this is. Bengal fans have known what this was going to be since like week 2.
Zim was actually at the game and he was actually celebrating with Joe Burrow's dad. He was awesome. Right next to Jim Burrow. The craziest thing was he said like a whole bunch of people were coming up to Jim to get him to go on the field with Joe. And he was like, I'm not going down there. And they were like, why not? He was like, we still have to win the Super Bowl. He was like, I'm not celebrating this.
There you go.
He's such a coach.
Where he gets it from.
He's such a coach.
Ice cold.
Job's not done.
Raven Smith here. $7 Canadian super chat. To my earlier comment, we're Canadian, and ironically, my family is divided between the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals fans. Sorry, Q. A real-life AFC North Talk. They're the AFC North Talk family there.
Rounds out the equation, huh?
Sorry, Q.
It is what it is.
All right, we got another one here from Izzy. His $2 super chat says, LOL, what did Q say? I was claimed off waivers.
The newest stripe.
I mean, Izzy, it's not okay. It's not okay. I'm still. I don't.
All right, now you better not be. You better not be big trust Izzy next season. Now,
yeah, he's gonna. As soon as Aaron Rodgers comes on, I'm telling you. As soon as Aaron Rodgers comes over, here we go. Michael Myers, $2 super chat. Feel bad Green and Atkins are not a part of this. Yeah, it is a rough part of this. That they kind of got rid of all the guys who kind of, not to say they built this up or they got them there, because this is a whole new regime with Taylor and all that. But
I wanted to say this though. I think they needed to. Like, as much as it would be nice, but it's like part of what Ace is saying is like when we go into Pittsburgh and they're not afraid to play in Pittsburgh. I've seen this so much with the Browns where we have longtime Browns who always get beat by Pittsburgh. And the second it looked like Pittsburgh's about to put the hammer down, oh, I already know what this is. You know what I mean? Yeah. That mentality had to go. And it wasn't that they weren't good enough players. It was just like they were so used to it being a certain way. And the thing about this Bengals team is that they just did not know or care about any of the Bengalisms, right? Like they weren't celebrating after the first playoff game that they won in like 31 years. They didn't care, right? They weren't carrying all that baggage like, some of those veterans were carrying that baggage. And that does have an effect on the locker room, because it's one of the things I've always felt with Joe Thomas is like, man, like, he's been there so long. He's seen so many beatdowns. So the second it's a beatdown, he already know what's up. He doesn't have that dog in him anymore because he's so used to getting beaten down. And it's not like the Bengals have been beaten down the last 10 years. It's just like they have had these tropes, right? Steelers, playoffs, Andy Dalton in primetime games, right? That in order to have, it's like you got to cut some of the cynical fans off just so you can have that new feeling in there, and they needed to do that. And hey, I think people are going to honorably put AJ Green and Atkins and put them as spiritual parts of this Super Bowl, and that'd be good for them. But honestly, I think they needed to. I mean, like they did the right thing for Zach Taylor. You needed to give him a fresh locker room. Remember, this thing looked like a disaster last year, right? With how the locker room was splitting.
Yeah, remember after the Dunlap trade and the way that all went down. Oof.
Yeah, you had like one dude beefing with they had to trade Carlos Dunlap because he was just very unhappy with what happened in that.
It got ugly. It got ugly.
Yeah,
it got ugly at the end.
Yeah. Akilla the Great here, $5 super chat says Lou played KC like they were Mississippi State. Oh, that's a good comparison. Air raid, yeah. And dropped an edge rusher to smother the first short read and force them to wait while covering deep. It's an unbelievable game plan.
It was so good that I thought Cliff Kingsbury was out there coaching. Like, man, that's the only thing that can explain this.
Blue Libra here, $5 super chat. It did feel like the Bengals D were saving up for the second half, but it also felt like we got in Mahomes' head again. His face on the sideline said it. I think.
Yeah, they also had play on the field. Receivers were like arguing with each other. I think like Pringle and Tyreek Hill or something. It was
Pringle wanted to look on a out, and the ball went to Tyreek, and he was like, on that look, I should get the ball every time.
Yeah.
So, they're going to have to recycle some of these dudes because now Pringle's. Yeah. Well, was it Pringle or was it Hardman? I thought it was Hardman.
It was Hardman. Hardman is the one who wanted the ball. Yeah, Hardman wanted the ball. And Tyreek Hill had to be like, yo, chill.
Somewhere.
Chill, kid.
Like, yo, I'm Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that it's Tyreek Hill. He's going to get the ball before you. You know what I mean? But he's good, though.
Yeah. Eric here, $2 super chat. Hill didn't drop the bomb. Bell knocked it out. Was it Bates?
That is true. That is true.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Said it to me so many times that last week that I actually thought it was true, and then Bell did knock it out.
Yeah,
they tried to make it seem like Hill should have made the catch though.
You're talking about the one at the end of the first half of the first meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. I thought they were talking about the end of because the one in overtime was a throw to Hill as well. Deep
Hill
that
was
Bates.
Right.
Bates knocks it and Bell intercepts it. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Take one here, $5 super chat. Quincy, why do you never rock your team colors, man? Coming from a Steelers fan, get it together, my guy.
Because I don't like none of the damn team gear. Leave me alone about the team gear, people. Like, I don't like wearing the team hats, the team gear. I don't think it looks good. They don't build it right. I'm good on it.
Just got to make your own merch, Quincy. Just do your own thing.
Right.
Ben here, $5 super chat. Such disrespect that it's not our win, but the Greek Kryptonian gods lost. LOL. I mean, I don't think it's a disrespect to say Mahomes choked at the end. He choked. He did choke. I mean, there's no doubt. We all watched it, right? He choked because of what the Bengals did on defense. I mean, I think both things can be true, right? The Bengals had a great defensive game plan that made Mahomes choke. I don't think it's a diss to say
let's be real here, man. The Chiefs have been dominating the news cycle for like 4 years. If you're the team that beats the Chiefs in the playoffs, like the story is going to be about the Chiefs for that first week, right? Like that just is what it is, right? I said this before the Browns played the Chiefs week 1. I was like, if the Browns win, be prepared. It's not going to be about us. It's going to be about the Chiefs, right? Because that's the story. So, that's just the story, right? The Chiefs kind of been on top of the news cycle for a while. If you knock them off, people are going to talk about what's wrong with the Chiefs. They'll talk about y'all when it's time to talk about Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a great thing about the Super Bowl. You got a two week cycle here. I'll tell you what, by Thursday or Friday of next week,
out the way.
And you guys are going to be. I mean, Bengals fans are going to be tired of every storyline they dig up. They're going to dig up every single stupid ass storyline you could think of. Trust me, it gets real stupid by the end.
We're gonna find out if Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, they were college roommates or something like that.
Just be...
They worked together at Elite 11 camp, and they looked at each other and said, "I think we could have a long future." And then they're gonna make up shit. It's gonna be funny.
Yeah. Tyler here, $5 super chat. Congrats to the Bengals from Browns Nation. Y'all prove people wrong all season. Go win it for Ohio. Thank you all for doing this show. Been watching all year.
Appreciate that, Tyler. Ohio needs to be respected. Birthplace of football. We need to tighten up.
For real. Man. We need to do the right thing and not allow Ben to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. They can do the ceremony like they did with Terrell Owens, or Terrell had his ceremony in like Chattanooga. That's where Ben could do that ceremony at Heinz, baby. You don't need to come to Ohio just so I can hear you run off them Brown jokes, because I know he's gonna have them in his little speech. I'm not looking forward to that day. Gotta watch him.
So I got to tell this story. My mother-in-law has gotten into football thanks to doing this show. Her and her husband love watching this show. And she texted me like an hour before the show today, and she goes, "Hey, I was just reading that Ben Roethlisberger owns an NFL franchise. Which one?" And I'm like, "What?" And then I realized what she read. Ben Roethlisberger owns the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I would tell y'all. Oh yeah, I was like, you know how people are talking about what are they gonna do with these Baker Mayfield commercials? One, I think after Patrick Mahomes is eliminated, we don't ever need to see another quarterback-led insurance commercial ever again. We're done with them. But two, I was like, you know, what would be the funny joke? You know, if like a Steeler fan were writing all of this commercial stuff, is the first commercial next year is like Baker starting off the commercial, realizing the door is locked, and then Ben coming in and unlocking the door, being like, "Yeah, your landlord's here."
Love it. Love it. Progressive, make it happen, please. All right, let's keep going here. Ben with a $5 super chat. Oh, and mad respect for CJ Uzoma, for repping us on the sideline, and Boomer looked brought to tears. Hashtag Houday.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of got emotional when CJ came out to the sideline, man. So hopefully he's able to get well and be able to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Russ, $2 super chat. Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback. Prove me wrong. No one's gonna prove you wrong on that one. Yep. Clearly top 5. And what's gonna be a lot of fun next year is the quarterback rankings in next year.
Ooh,
because
you know Raven fans ain't gonna let you have that.
Right, exactly. There's still gonna be the argument like Lamar's an MVP. Lamar's been doing it for longer.
You know who's gonna have
how many playoff wins? How many playoff wins? Super Bowl appearances?
Yeah, you know who's gonna have a real easy time with these rankings? Me and Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
We have no dog in this fight. We're just like, you know what?
No, we're like that meme from Godzilla, right? Let them fight. That's us.
even if we do get Russ, it's just like, yeah, you know, we ain't got to make no arguments on what's going to be there or not. You know, it's just like, yeah. One or two is going to be Ravens and Bengals, and then, you know, we'll be somewhere in 3 or 4.
All right. Akila the Great with another $2 super chat. Really appreciate all the support tonight. We are at 2.5 hours in, thanks to you guys and all the super chats we've gotten. $2 super chat here. It says Sauce gave up -2 yards to Alabama. Enough said.
Yeah, he's really good.
But does he have the frame? Sure. But does he have the frame to do that at an NFL level?
10 pounds.
I mean, how many NFL receivers was he going up against in that game, really, when you think about it?
Just the whole team.
Just like every single one of them. The quarterback, the running back.
What was his breakout age? You know, that's just gonna
Yeah. Actually, breakout age, I'm a big believer in breakout age, actually, but that's neither here nor there. I love breakout age. I love all that stuff. Dominator rating. Diddy with a $2 super chat.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. Dominator rating is like when your first year you had like 30% or 35% of the yardage share of your team.
Target share. Yeah, I could. Oh, yardage share. Nice.
Diddy here with a $2 super chat. Ace, who think we draft in after Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland?
Just a flex.
Diddy, you my guy, and I'm just gonna say this because I know you.
No, he's flexing.
We're not talking about the draft until after the Super Bowl.
He's saying who? I read it wrong. Ace, who would think we're drafting after Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland?
I'm about to say he's bragging about the fact that y'all got the last pick no matter what at the door. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's a flex.
Yeah, it is a flex. I was going to flex the Steelers for a second, but there's no reason. Oh, we made the playoffs, but only lost 2 playoff spots. Who cares? No one cares. Diddy here, $2 super chat. Manziel was on Twitter dissing the city of Cleveland. Was he really?
He was doing it?
He changed his bio to something Johnny Manziel, quarterback.
I love the Browns. I love the Browns.
And then he put in Cleveland sucks in his bio, which I don't even understand why he did it, because, like, we ain't even in the news right now, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
We had a crazy night.
Like, he's reacting like the Browns are in the AFC Championship game. Like, we at home, dog. Like, I don't know why you trying to. I don't know, man. I've just gotten to the point where you just got to ignore Johnny Football, man. He's just.
Yeah, I saw he's a Joe Burrow fan, and I thought that was, I guess, the college connection. But
everything he does, he's like Carson Palmer, but worse. Like, everything he does is despite the Browns and despite Cleveland, because he blames us for him in his career never getting on point, even though we're the only team that would have enough faith in to draft him in the first round. You know what I mean?
Jerry Jones thought about it. Jerry Jones,
and he got talked out of it, right? Because he got talked into trading the pick. But, you know, anybody else in their right mind was like, we're not drafting Johnny Football in the first round. But, you know, the Browns did, and then we played them too early.
Rowdy Every Lap with a $10 super chat here says the Bengals are projected to be $59 million under the cap. If they can just find a way to keep Burrow, Higgins, and Chase together for the next decade, the Bengals will challenge every year.
They could sign Lamar Jackson just to stash him.
This is the scary part that's really lurking in the background, and I'm trying to figure out how they're going to pull this off. Don't forget about Justin Jefferson. That's all I'm going to say. Don't forget about Justin Jefferson.
We're going to start doing the Warriors thing in the NFL now.
No,
I'm going to find a new hobby. I'm out.
I'm done. Nope.
You saw it. You saw it. They asked him about the difference between
Ace. We
Joe
are
Burrow
living in the world where y'all might win the Super Bowl. We are not doing this right now.
They asked him about what's the difference between Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins. I'm just saying.
I would assume there's a pretty large difference in there. But nope, I'm not doing that. Nah. I'm about to have the quadros or whatever the hell you gonna call them.
I mean, new coach over in Minnesota. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. All right. Ali here. $5 super chat.
Y'all gonna have T. Higgins on special teams? Like what?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
And it's funny because Bengals fans, they actually wanted
They
to
gonna
draft
have
Burrow
Kyler
first.
Murray
And this was the time where some people still thought Jefferson was going to go in the second round. They were like, let's go get Justin Jefferson in the second round. I'm just saying.
Please don't. $5 super chat here from Ali. He says, Tony, I bet the Chiefs wish they had saved the touchdown or the tight end pass for a touchdown for this game. Remember, kids, slappiness is contagious. Actually, this is a great point because they in that Steelers game, they used all their little cute touchdowns, right? They had the touchdown to the linemen and all that stuff to run up the score and then do the stupid ass fireworks joke. Yeah, if only they could have done some of that stuff at the end of the first half in this game or the end of the second half in this game. Yep. If only they had any of those.
So you're saying the Steelers helped the Bengals get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, well, the dumbass Chiefs by running up the score in that game with all their cute touchdowns. Then at the end of the year, they're running by the way, can we talk about how stupid it was that was the design of the play was to get Hill out into the flat and with 5 seconds left to go. Why are you not just running a fade to Kelsey? You have 5 seconds. You can run the fade quickly. And then if you don't get it, okay, kick the field goal with 1 second left. Like idiotic.
They outthought themselves. Oh, they're going to be all over that.
Cute when it comes to that stuff. Their fans.
That's the perfect opportunity to throw that kind of a ball too. Because if it gets intercepted, that's what? Okay, who cares? Half over.
By the way, want to thank whoever was out there who moved the line when we were doing the show the other day to move it because it didn't stay at 7.5 for very long. I don't know if you guys followed this. You don't, but let me just tell you, it didn't stay at 7.5 for very long. I bet the Bengals at 7.5 because I thought that's too many points now. And thank goodness that. By the way, props to whoever moved the line because it didn't stay, and I got it at 7.5, and thank goodness I did. Diddy here, $2 super chat. Those scrappy Bengals. Nah, we got heart. Scrappy Bengals, scrappy Steelers. There's too many scrappy teams this year. Scrappy Ravens, scrappy Lions.
Ravens and the Steelers are the scrappy ones.
Ravens weren't scrappy. Ravens were a work. Ravens were a work.
Yeah, they called us a finesse team. That was insane. That was a classic. And I think they put that behind some highlights of like us stopping Derrick Henry in the backfield. John Sharon put it as the audio behind a video of us having highlights against them.
That's crazy.
All right, Ali here, $10 super chat says, much love on this year's Success Ace and Who They Nation from Steelers Nation. Don't worry, all will return to being right with the world after we get porn star Jimmy next year.
Jimmy.
Yeah, and reclaim
not Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G. I'm ready. I was talking to all the Locked On Steeler fans today. I was saying, which hype train do you want me to start? Mitch Magic, okay, Mitch Trubisky, or Jimmy Greatness? What do we do? What are we doing here?
If Mike Tomlin gets to a second round playoff game in the AFC with Jimmy Garoppolo, he is the greatest coach of all time.
All Jimmy G does.
You know what? Let's derail one quick. I know we're at 2 hours and 32 minutes. So I'm not going to be long here. Can we talk about the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo has had the most fortunate career out of anybody in the NFL when it comes to where he has landed, and he's still sorry? Like, he landed in New England behind Tom Brady with Josh McDaniels for like 5 years, then gets traded to Kyle Shanahan, who I swear to God, Kyle Shanahan can make anybody look okay. He made Brian Hoyer almost make a Pro Bowl one time. Like, he is one of the best offense. Matt Ryan, MVP year. Who was the coordinator?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
but that's that right there. Let's stop right there. Kyle Shanahan, offensive coordinator, 28-3. Okay. Now
look,
we're gonna
I
blame
said
the
there's a
late
limit
game
to
Jimmy.
what you
We're
can
gonna say
do with-
Jimmy G late game. Oh, he collapses late. Jimmy G collapses late.
Good.
His head coach
There's
is
only so much
literally
you can
the
do.
guy. He
No,
is
this is
literally
what I'm
the
saying. This is what I'm
collapse
saying.
king.
This is more to his credit. Those dudes were never the guys. They're the reason, like, he never had like a Joe Burrow or anything like that. Like, he always would just elevate these dudes past levels that they're being and get so much success out of them that eventually it's going to go falling apart, right? Because Matt Ryan's not going to win a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, getting to 2 Super Bowls with Jimmy Garoppolo is better than winning a Super Bowl. Like, that is just impressive if he was able to do that. And the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo has had some of the best coaching on planet Earth that a quarterback can have, and he still looked like this with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but but see, okay, here's
go all in on that one.
I know I'm going to sound like the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan on the planet tonight, and I don't mean to, but whatever. Like, look, the problem I have with just going in on Garoppolo and saying like Garoppolo is the whole problem. Shanahan in all these big game moments, he gets so tight. And you could see his whole team get tight right there with him. They punted the 49ers last night, punted in Rams territory 3 times. 3 times.
They get tight because they know Jimmy ain't going to be able to do nothing.
It's the same thing that happened in that Super Bowl.
It's like, do you think every player on them Bengals teams with Andy Dalton weren't clutch? No, it was just they knew what was up at quarterback. Like when you don't have faith in that dude, you're going to fold all of a sudden.
You're not going to go for it.
Yeah, all of a sudden the Bengals are the most clutch team in football. Why? Because they have a clutch quarterback. Why have the Steelers been so good at being clutch? It's because they have faith in the guy who's going to come up at the end of the day, which is Ben Roethlisberger. The reason why these dudes
but they don't go for it. The Steelers don't go for it.
When it's Jimmy G and Matt Ryan, is because they know what's up. It's Jimmy G and Matt Ryan.
I mean, again, it's bad quarterbacks stay aggressive all the time, right? I mean, you see that's like why Ryan Tannehill was able to go, 12 and 5, whatever, because Vrabel stayed aggressive.
I saw that in Jimmy G's eyes when that came down to 2 minutes and he realized this was all on me.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying Jimmy G's a good quarterback, but
he was not ready
putting
to
it all on him. I think it's unfair.
Moment, and he's 32 years old. He's not getting better.
He's 32?
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually young. Quarterbacks
wait.
40 now.
I think he's older than that because he's been in the league since 2014?
He's been in the league for a while.
Yeah, and he's only played 54 games, by the way. He has less games.
Oh, his injury problems are a real concern.
Yeah. Oh, he's 30. He's 30.
Okay, that's not bad.
He's super young.
He's got another 10 years left.
By the way,
10
this year, by far his worst year when it comes to both QBR and PFF grades. I'm just saying, that's a lemon. That's a lemon.
One of those I don't. One of those.
I will die on that. Jimmy G is a lemon hill. Even if he comes to Cleveland, I'm like, man, we just bought a lemon.
I'm with you, but I don't get. I'm not gonna give Shanahan a pass.
No, I'm not giving Shanahan a pass. I'm just saying I think it's remarkable that he even got to this place, considering that nobody thought that the San Francisco 49ers were going to be here, considering that everybody kind of thought that Jimmy G was going to get benched after they drafted Trey Lance. Like, it's supposed to be a developmental year for him, but he still found a way to squeak enough juice out that udder that we call Jimmy Garoppolo to get to the NFC Championship game.
All right, Jeff here with a $5 super chat. TPS did a tape showing the worst free agent signings for each team last year. For the Bengals, they picked Trey Hendrickson.
There was a lot of bad people with those bad takes. And like me personally, I just cut the film on and I was like, he's way better than people are saying. Like they were like, oh, it's fake sacks and this and that. No, Trey Hendrickson is a good player.
I'm not gonna lie. I got the Paul Kruger vibe scared me from him. I was like, no, I've been there before.
I got that one wrong too. I got that one wrong in the offseason for sure. Rowdy Every Lap, $5 super chat. Bengals are now 3-0 in AFC Championship games, while the Browns are 0-3. Doesn't that give the edge to the clear edge to Cincy in the Super Bowl era?
But the Browns swept y'all though.
I really saw that being a thing. Like yesterday, they said Browns fans were saying we swept them, so we're going to the Super Bowl next year.
I mean, like, I think it's a fun meme. You know what I mean? Look, we swept.
You got to take what you can get.
Hey man, hey, look, we ain't got nothing much this year. We don't know what we doing at quarterback. Let us have the sweep, Ace. Y'all got everything else.
Hey, I remember I think one time I said, y'all can sweep us for the next century if we get a Super Bowl. I do not care.
We're in year one.
I doubt if Joe Burrow has 2 Super Bowl rings, but no wins versus the Browns in 5 years. People are going to be like, oh, Joe Burrow's never beaten the Browns. Has it ever mattered?
Ja here, $2 super chat. Cincinnati public schools are closed the day after the Super Bowl. Ooh, how about that?
Damn, man.
It's going to either be a joyous celebration or I've never been on the losing side of a Super Bowl. What is that like, Tony? Not no shot or anything, but like, what is that like?
No.
Because
We were talking about it last night. My brother, it's funny. My brothers and I we were playing games last night. We were talking about it. It sucks a lot. It sucks a lot. Because I said, losing in the championship game is the worst. What's that?
Ooh, like losing at the end.
Yeah, like that Kevin Dyson one where he was like 1 inch short.
Ooh, yeah, the Kevin Dyson one inch short.
Yeah, the Steelers when they lost to the Packers, they had the ball at the end of the game at the 20-yard line, like a minute and a half to go, and a chance to win. They were down by 4 or something like that, or 6. Yeah, they're down by 6, so they had a chance to win, and they just couldn't move the ball down the field. Now losing the Super Bowl really sucks a lot, because the feeling you have at the end is like, oh my God. It was so hard. Like, think about all the things that the team had to do to get there, right? That Steeler team that year had to, they had to overcome this huge deficit to the Ravens in the playoffs, and then they nearly got upset by the Jets in the championship game. You're like, oh my God, all the things the team had to do to get there, right? And they got to do all that again. My God,
yeah,
it sucks. Yes. It sucks a lot.
Ooh.
You don't want to miss it.
I think the worst one was probably the Falcons. I can't imagine. Like they thought that they won that.
Oh
like,
it's the worst.
Falcons
That's
fans
the worst
didn't
one.
think that they won that when they were up 28-3 because you have to remember the Falcons before that have had a rich history of blowing.
Yeah, I guess they're
incredulous leads.
Yeah,
like that 28. That wasn't even the first time they've done it. They did that in the NFC Championship game like 2 years ago, where they got beat.
That's got to be the worst.
Like
or something as a fan, you're probably like at halftime, you're like, "Oh, it's coming home."
No,
like,
I know exactly.
25 points
I know
at
exactly
halftime
how the Falcons fans felt that year. It's the same way I feel when the Browns were up 28-0 on the Steelers. It's like, okay, let's not mess this up. Let's not let the other shoe drop because I don't know. They have been historically like just chokers.
Eric here, $2 super chat. Free agent O linemen are ready to come for a visit. The one thing about that, well, I guess
is there a good free agency O line class?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not a
lot of linemen coming to Cincinnati and checking out the scene.
It's not a great year for free agent linemen, but there are a couple, especially if you need interior, like Ryan Jensen, who's going to be I think he's going to be 30 this offseason from the Bucs. But, again, for the Bengals who, it's not like they need a young guy because they're not ready to compete. They're ready to compete right now. So a 30-year-old good center.
The Browns locked up Wyatt Teller.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a free agent this year.
Yeah. Tyler here, $2 super chat. Q, do you want Wilson or Olave if the Browns go wide receiver?
Man, I'm at the point to where, like, unless we address the quarterback position, I'm not about to get excited about a wide receiver because, like, the problems are still going to exist. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had good wide receiver play. We did not utilize the good wide receiver play. We got to figure out what's the issue at quarterback. Why can't we get the ball to the wide receivers? Why are the tight ends the only thing to be utilized? Why are we so sorry in certain situations throwing the ball? Until we figure that out, like, I think Garrett Wilson's probably the better choice there, right? Garrett Wilson's the better wide receiver. He's the guy there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's Jamar Chase. And even then, I don't know.
There's no Jamar Chase in this class.
Yeah, and even then, like, are the Browns going to be in a position to utilize a young Jamar Chase? Like, are they going to? Because we could joke all we want. They let a productive wide receiver get cut from the team for free. And then told themselves they're going to be better because of it. It doesn't give me like a lot of confidence that they would figure out how to use a wide receiver if they couldn't figure out Odell.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Toxic Site Gaming, $4 super chat says, Ace, are you ready for the first NFL Triple Crown quarterback?
How do you get the Triple Crown?
Triple Crown.
Comeback player of the year, MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Is that what is that? It?
Super Bowl MVP, and in the offseason, well, in the regular season award.
I think the
Triple Crown would technically be MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl.
Right.
Or it could be like passing leader.
I don't know. They'll make MVP. It up. If they want Joe Burrow to be Triple Crown, they'll give him 3 stats and 3 awards. And
I'm confused. The Pro Football Writers, is that the official rookie?
No. That the AP.
Okay. That stuff is so confusing.
It's really dumb. Yeah, I know. Because I think Burrow won comeback player of the year, right? And Watt won defensive player of the year, but they haven't been out of sync for very long. I mean, they usually are in sync. So if you win that one, you're probably going to win the other one too.
Gotcha.
All right, let's keep going here. Pull up some more super chats.
Only become a PWFA fanboy if somehow Michael Parsons gets defensive player of the year.
I hope they don't give it to him. I want them to not give it to him. I'll just put a chip on. Just put more chips on the TJ Watt shoulder. I mean, just because when he look, they didn't give it to him. They gave it to Taron Donald a year ago. Now I'm not saying that they shouldn't have given it to Taron Donald, but Watt had a great year and he came back and he had 22.5 sacks this year. So don't give it to him again. Let's have him get 25. Sure. Dylan, $5 super chat. Steelers fans think they can easily just plug another quarterback in and be contenders. They might have to wait 5 to 10 years before they can find the guy. Might be a dark era.
I'm going to push back on that.
I've been hearing on this a lot.
The Steelers are not going to be 10 years before they find a decent quarterback. It's not going to be that long.
It's not going to be 10 years.
Because you know why teams like the Browns have had issues finding quarterbacks? It's because they're not stable. They are constantly changing who is making these positions, who's making these picks every year, which means that every 2 years you're looking for a different guy at quarterback. That's why the Browns were in that position, right? We had no stability in the front office, which led to us just scrambling to find a quarterback every time we did, or just signing dudes like Jake Delhomme and drafting like regular position players instead of quarterbacks, right? That's why the Browns were looking for 20 years. The Steelers are not going to be in that position. Like, that's just the harsh reality.
Yeah.
Is that Kevin Colbert has been there long enough. He knows what he's looking for. He'll find somebody probably in like 2-3 years.
Well, Colbert's retiring. Colbert is officially retiring after this draft.
Kevin Colbert's friend that he's going to elevate
exactly.
to that.
Brandon Hunt, the new guy.
Right. We know how the Steelers do this thing. It's the same organization, right? You know what I mean? It's why the Bengals, people don't get the Bengals credit. Bengals haven't had a sorry quarterback since what, John Kitna? Was that the last time they were like rolling out?
Nah. John Kitna's not sorry now. We're not going to call him complete trash.
But you know what I mean.
We did have Achilles Smith. We did have Gus Frerotte. John Kitna, I got respect for John Kitna because John Kitna was the quarterback that led us to 8-8 when we were like winning.
But John Kitna was also a dude that could start anywhere. Like he would just be like in Detroit.
Yeah. He went to Detroit after that. Yeah.
If you got Carson
Andy Dalton
Palmer,
is a souped up John Kitna.
That's what I'm saying though. But if you got Andy Dalton, when teams got Carson Palmer, he was immediately the starter.
He wasn't. No, John Kitna was the starter first.
No, I'm saying like after he left Cincinnati, they saw Carson Palmer as like an immediate starter.
Oh yeah,
and then
definitely
Andy Dalton was good enough for those 8. Well, for about 6 of those 8 years, he was pretty good. Yeah. Well, pretty all right, good enough to get to the playoffs at least. And then there was like 2 years of bad Andy, which rode you right into Joe Burrow. Baltimore, I think Baltimore's had more QB woes than any of the other 2 franchises other than Cleveland, right? Because Lamar's really
it was rough during those Kyle Bowler years. Kyle should have been a bowler.
Yeah, depends on what you think about Flacco, because Flacco did have some times there where he
he had like 3-4 years, decent, but he was always kind of like the best before that was like an Andy Dalton level quarterback.
You always knew
Flacco was like Andy Dalton with the ring.
Yeah,
Flacco was like Andy Dalton with the ring.
There's Andy Dalton and there's like a Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is Andy Dalton, but he's a little bit more streaky, and that's what Joe Flacco is a little bit more streaky. But then like
Jimmy G, you could Jimmy G, he was almost like Jimmy G, where it's like look, you can win with this guy, but are you really ever going to get to the mountaintop with this guy? You're not. And by the way, this whole when they think they can easily plug in a quarterback and be contenders, this whole thing, where does that come from? I don't think people realize how bad the Steelers should have been this year. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was not good, very, very, very not good this year. And the Steelers should have been a 4-win team. I mean, if you just all you have to do to the Steelers to see how bad they could have been, flip all the results of their 1-score games. Take every 1-score game they had, flip the result. You know what their record is after that? 3-14. 3-14 if you flip all their 1-score games. They were really bad this year. They didn't have quarterback play. That's why I think there is some confidence that, hey, if the Steelers can get a quarterback, like you can take this nucleus and be okay again. Now, again, we'll see what they do, because that quarterback can't be Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins. Gavin here with a $3 Canadian super chat says Devontae Adams going to sign with the Bengals 2 to 3 years. He wants $30 million a year. You can fit that in.
I think we already got Jamar Chase for slightly cheaper.
So now you don't. Okay, you want Jamar Jefferson? Hold on. You want Justin Jefferson, but you don't want Devontae Adams?
How old is Devontae Adams?
No,
That's
he's
one
30.
thing.
He's 30.
That is one thing that I learned with us moving away from our older players. Take the younger guys, man.
Yeah.
Take the younger guys with the
Wait
higher
till
ceilings.
first take is like, should the Bengals trade
In 3
Joe
years,
Burrow
he'd
for
be
Aaron
33.
Rodgers?
No, I don't want Devontae Adams, a 33-year-old Devontae Adams.
Dev here with a $2 super chat says, name one thing Burrow does at an elite level.
Read defenses.
Yeah.
Hey,
before the play
He's got
diagnosis.
one of the highest IQs in the game.
Yeah.
on target accuracy.
Yeah, accuracy,
ball
I think-
placement.
Accuracy.
Yeah,
Ball placement, yeah.
what's his completion
Pocket awareness.
percentage above expectation is top 5.
Winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all intangibles. I know Joe
wins.
Burrow does not. He's not Josh Allen, where like his physical attributes jump off the spec sheet. But come on, man, if you watching the games, dog, there's something jumping off your screen that you see when you watch Joe Burrow.
By the way, we got a ton of super chats, and I'll say the same thing because we're stupid. Yep. Hey, listen, this is what happens when you do a podcast for 3 hours. Your mind starts to.
Oh, Heisman National Championship, and there's nobody's ever done that.
Nope.
Cam didn't do it. Nope, because Cam didn't win.
Nope, Cam didn't win. Nope.
Heisman Trophy winners generally just aren't good in the national.
That used to be the thing. Now it's not really as clear, right? After Cam, it's been like, because Lamar won the Heisman.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar.
We had a string. That's when it was like a string of all of them were coming to our division. And then Baker,
Kyler.
Yeah,
Tua.
Baker. Kyler's still going to be good.
No, Tua never won one, right?
Tua didn't win the Heisman. He got his stolen from what's his name?
Kyler.
Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow took his Heisman.
Yeah, Joe
Burrow stole it.
And he got hurt that year, I think.
And then what? You think Bryce Young ain't gonna be good because he won the Heisman?
No, I think Bryce Young's gonna be very good at. He's gonna be a great Steeler.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
gonna be a great Steeler.
The Heisman curse is so dead.
Yeah, but I'm saying like traditionally Heisman Trophy winners haven't been good in the National Football League, which is why this has never happened before.
I think up to like 10 years ago that was true.
Side note, did you guys see that like Cash App thing that they had for like a charity where they had like Joe Burrow, I think they had Bryce, and it was like some other quarterbacks. I think Danny Dimes. It was dope seeing Bryce, and it was like a throwing drill or something like that. It was like a throwing contest to see who could do all of it, but they threw Bryce in there with like Joe Burrow and some other guys. It was pretty cool to see that.
How did Bryce do?
He did pretty good. I feel like did he win it? I think he may have won it. Either him or someone else won it. I know Joe Burrow didn't win it. Joe Burrow was like second or third or something. Danny Dimes was in it, but I don't remember him winning it.
I love how me and Tony are openly simping for quarterbacks that we will never have. I'm the big Caleb Williams lover, and then he's like the big Bryce Young guy. We're both not going to get either of them.
No, the Steelers would never be bad enough to pick that high. That's the problem.
They're going to Jacksonville or Indy or somewhere.
Oh, Trey Lance was in it. That's who it was.
Oh,
Trey
okay.
Lance was the last guy. I think Trey Lance might have won it.
Really?
Ain't no way, man. He ain't though. He was none of the balls he threw all year.
I was just gonna say he's not accurate, man. We sure that wasn't photoshopped if he won it?
Trey Lance throw the football like he got a shotgun coming out. That thing can go anywhere. Like it was. Remember young Josh Allen, where it was just like that ball could go anywhere. With like the first 2 years of Josh Allen, that Trey Lance looked like now. See if he makes a jump like that. We'll see.
Oh, it was. Hold on. No, yeah, it was. Trey Lance won it. Yeah, Trey Lance won it. Yeah.
That's the best throwing performance he's had all year.
Rowdy every lap, $5 super chat. Ace. I'm a server at Waffle House here in Clemson. We have 3 legit Bengals fans working here. Last night, a customer had a Migos cap on.
Oh, that's fire. Appreciate it, bro. Yes, they told me the story. They were saying in Clemson that you guys name dropped me and somebody had the Migos cap on. That's dope. Appreciate that.
Dylan, $5 super chat. Going forward as AFC North fans, how much do you fear Cincinnati? How long does Lamar threaten Cincinnati?
I think that kind of ended this season, but he's still Lamar Jackson.
The fear I have with Burrow, like I said this at the top of the show, right? I'm so happy that Brady's retired, and I think that I never have to watch him again. Thank goodness. And then like, oh, by the way, he's in your division now. He's reincarnated, and he's in your division.
And he's faster.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's likable.
Yeah, great.
Nah, but you know, I just gotta get like 2 minutes of this in because I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to say this again because if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, you can never call them the Bengals again. But you know, I'll never fear the Bengals as long as they exist. We've been whipping the Bengals, but they win the Super Bowl. They are the Bengals. You have to say the Bengals, with your full chest. Until then, yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
It's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, I hope y'all don't pay Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. In their contract.
I hope both the Ravens and the Bengals just decide, let's let our quarterbacks walk.
He could, you know, by the way, he can request, he can start, he can request an extension after next year.
After next year, they're doing like the early extension things, right?
Yeah. I think Mahomes did that.
Get 80
I'm going to say Justin Jefferson about 3 years. Pay cut, maybe?
Stop
it.
Jason with a $20 super chat.
And get all that money to yourself. Don't you dare take a pay cut. I'm gonna need you to break the cap. $80 million for your contract per year.
Just get the band back together.
Triple Crown is Heisman, National Championship, Super Bowl champs. Yep, we're stupid. Go Bengals, 740. Oh, by the way, we got this wrong.
NFL Triple Crown though. That makes me think most of that's in college.
We got this wrong, by the way. Tony Dorsett won the Heisman National Championship and Super Bowl in back-to-back seasons. So there you go. It's definitely been done before. Russ here, $5 super chat, wants to talk about Q's favorite subject. How about that rookie kicker?
I never said Zach McPherson wasn't going to be good, but I still stand on my stance that drafting kickers is not usually smart. It worked out for the Bengals. Everything worked out for the Bengals this year.
Coming up all roses. Literally, they can do no wrong.
Definitely.
With the Browns drafted kickers, we got Austin Seibert and Zane Gonzalez, dog.
Yeah. Darren Simmons is a good coach.
But
Darren Simmons did pick him, so yeah, you definitely got to pick the right kickers.
And no, Zach McPherson, he probably just walked into his meeting with the Bengals and said, "Y'all about to draft me, right? Because I'm the best kicker in the draft." And the Bengals were like, "Well, you know, got to do it. This kid's confident."
Darren Simmons apparently jumped on the table for him. It was way more controversial than I actually thought it was. I could understand if we never drafted a kicker in the 5th round before, but we did it with Jake Elliott. So the whole uproar after we did it again, especially with having Fat Randy, I was happy that we drafted a kicker.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is I think he actually he has a shot to get Vinatieri's record, I think, in the Super Bowl. He has to hit, I think, two more field goals.
He's real good.
Yeah, he's really good though.
He's really good.
It's great that this is the division of kickers too. You know what I mean? Cool. Real cool.
Yep.
Trade Chris Boswell.
Just whenever you go up against any of these teams, just know if he gets overtime and the other team gets to the 40, you're screwed. So cool.
Well, I mean, there's one team that doesn't have a kicker.
Oh yeah. Browns stay the Browns. All right, Richmond here, $5 super chat. Child, please. Ocho Cinco voice. Remember, he called the Chiefs game when they was trash and Bengals won.
Yes.
This is the Bengals year.
That was a legendary, and that's what I wanted to bring up with the Chiefs. I was like, Bengals track record against the Chiefs, pretty good. That was when, I think that was 2003. I think that was 2003. We had to play the Chiefs, who were 8-0 at the time. A lot of people were saying the Bengals had no chance. And Peter Warrick went off in that game, and the Bengals ended up winning. And Chad, before the game, said that we were going to beat them, and we did beat the Chiefs.
Cool. Crystal here, $2 super chat, says, "Warning, LA, the Ice Man cometh." That, of course,
you're talking about Joe Burrow, right?
Joe Burrow, yeah. Joey B. Matt, $5 super chat. Did you see how many seconds it took us, the Bengals, to get the interception in overtime? 13 seconds.
Is that
I don't even want to look. I want it to be
true. They were cheering 13 seconds, ironically. I think when they tried to get that drive when they didn't score, they were cheering 13 seconds. It was 13 seconds on the clock at one point, and they were cheering it in Arrowhead.
Cool. Well, good for them, man.
That's a just. By the way, how fast are we going to forget that amazing divisional round game between?
Yep, that is lost to history.
It's going to.
Yeah, I could. Oh my God. They were like, "Oh, last week was our Super Bowl," and someone was like, "Yeah, it really was your Super Bowl."
No, but for real, yeah, that was it. Eric here, $2 super chat. McPherson kicked a 75-yarder in practice outside.
He's done some crazy stuff, bro. The craziest one I saw was when he kicked a 50 or 60-yard field goal, and he had like a top, and he kicked the ball so that it like unscrewed the bottle or whatever. But it was like insane. I thought it was like a fake video.
My goodness.
He's the next Mike Vanderjack.
All right. Year of the Tiger. As Matt here, $2 super chat says Year of the Tiger.
Somebody did tell me that. Someone did tell me that.
I think it was the last show we had. Somebody mentioned this too.
The Year of the Tiger. Yeah, it was Nandon. Nandon, I think.
Yeah. We had one from last week. Yeah. All right, and then the last super chat of the night, Matt with a $2 super chat says, "I have the screenshot. I'll send it to you, Ace." I think that's the McPherson kick, perhaps.
The McPherson one. Okay.
That we 3 hours in, and I believe that's all the super chats. So that will do it. Any parting shots, guys, before we go?
Nah, man, this is insane right now. I don't know when this is gonna come down, but hopefully I'll be able to try to get a ticket to the Super Bowl without paying $20,000. I'm gonna have to talk to some people, see if they have any extra seats available or something like that.
Is Cincinnati doing that thing where like they put on a big screen in the city square and they just like let a bunch of Bengal fans watch it?
Yeah,
honestly,
I think they are thinking about doing
that's a better move.
That might be
than
better,
going to the actual Super Bowl, right? Like, because it's at home, like you're gonna be with Bengal fans. I did that for the Cavs when they won Game 7, and I think I broke my like foot or something in the celebration, but it was worth it that night. It was crazy.
All right, that'll do it for us today. Thank you all for watching. Hey, before you go, make sure you like the video on your way out. It helps us spread the word about the show. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next week. We're not going to do a Thursday show this week. Obviously, there's no games this week, but we'll be back next week to preview the Super Bowl. Bengals, Rams. How about that? We're going to be coming to you live from LA. We'll be back next week. Talk to you then.